I'm about to plug in this fan to test whether blowing on this sail will move the boat forward. And then I'm flying 4,000 miles to the equator, where I'm actually standing in both the northern and southern hemispheres, because this line here is the equator. And I'm here to investigate whether or not this demo for tourists is actually a scam. Basically, they pour water in this basin, and on the north side of the equator, you seem to swirl and drain counterclockwise, but just a few feet away in the southern hemisphere, the water seems to drain in the exact opposite direction. It's sort of like how you also might have heard toilets flush in opposite directions on different sides of the equator, and we're here to uncover the truth. But I'm not stopping there, because today we're going to investigate 6 other physics and engineering puzzles using simple demonstrations as we go, because our goal by the end of this video is for you not just to know the right answers, but more importantly, for you to understand why you're the right answers. To kick things off, speaking of hemispheres, did you know the moon in the sky looks like this in the northern hemisphere, like in Canada, but it looks like this in the southern hemisphere, like in Australia? It's upside down! And while that is a fun fact, it's even more fun to understand why. And this is why. As we all know, the Earth is a sphere. So if you were Superman standing at the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, you'd look like this. But if you were Thor standing in the southern hemisphere in Antarctica, you'd look like this. Now, of course, the moon over here orbits around the Earth like this. And I'm going to add an arrow to it to help us with orientation. For the Superman at the North Pole, that arrow would point up, but from the perspective of Thor at the South Pole, that arrow would point down from his perspective. And now I know what you're thinking. If all that's true, then which way would the arrow point? If you're Spider-Man, then you're according to our model here, it should be sideways. And sure enough, here in Ecuador at the equator, I'm happy to report that the moon does in fact appear to be sideways. For fun fact 2 of 7, if you just stick 2 pins into some cardboard like this, and then connect them with a string and trace it out, you get my favorite geometric shape, an ellipse. But there's something really special about these 2 pinholes. They're called the focus points, and any straight line you shoot out in any direction from one of the points will bounce off the wall of the ellipse and always hit the other focus point. And here's proof, because I've got a laser pointer at one focus point, a ball of wax at the other, and a mirrored surface all along the interior wall. And now you can see no matter which way I point the laser, it always bounces off and lights up the wax. But here's the really cool part. If you build an actual full-size room in the shape of the ellipse, and then you stand at one focus point, you can hear even the faintest whisper from anyone standing at the other focus point, even hundreds of feet away, because all the sound waves bounce right back to your ears. In fact, this actual ellipse-shaped room was built by John Quincy Adams in the U.S. Capitol building. And legend has it, he was a master at anticipating the moves of his opponents plotting against him on the opposite side of the large hall. And now that you know the physics involved, it should come as no surprise that John Quincy Adams conveniently placed his desk right on top of his leftmost focus point. Next up at number 3, everyone knows when you slide on the accelerator pedal in the car, the stuff inside slides backward, and then when you slam on the brakes, the stuff inside just keeps moving forward. Including you, by the way. This is why we wear seatbelts. So then why the heck when I'm driving to the birthday party and I have to slam on the brakes, does the cake slide forward, but the balloons actually move backwards? As for the cake sliding forward, well, that's just Newton's first law in action, which basically says all stuff is kind of lazy and wants to stay still unless a force comes in and tries to move things. And then Newton's second law tells us the more you weigh and the more mass you have, the more force is required to even pitch you. But here's the thing we sometimes forget. The air around us is a fluid, and it also has mass. It weighs something. This is why air pressure is a thing. There's tons of air molecules stacked up above us, and they each move just a tiny bit. So we are like at the bottom of this air molecule dog. This is why your chip bag expands when you head up to the mountains, because it's moved up the dog pile. Now there's less air above it, weighing down, pushing it on all sides. And for a little proof, here's a simple demonstration that the air molecules around us do actually weigh something. When I throw this balloon inside, it moves, but it doesn't quite knock it over. Now all I'm going to do We say a helium balloon floats in air, or this ping pong ball floats in water, but it's almost more like the heavier, more dense thing, in this case the water, rudely cuts to the front of the line, forcing the poor ping pong ball up and out of the way. In fact, you can see if we lay this jar on its side, the same thing happens as in the car. When I give the jar a push, the water sloshes back, which forces the less dense ping pong ball forward, and then when it stops, the dense heavy water sloshes forward, forcing the ping pong ball back. Then for number 4, we're back here on the lake. To figure out if sailboats move by having wind blowing their sails, why don't they just get a big old fan like this to power them through the water? Sort of like the guy in this viral video who's using a leaf blower, pointing it to an umbrella, to scoot his way around on a skateboard. Well, let's think this through with a simple demo of a fan that's attached to this train car. When I turn the fan on and it blows air to the right, which way will the car go? Well, of course it goes to the left, because it's basically cutting through the air and pushing it backwards, which creates an equal and opposite reaction that pushes the train forward, just like an airplane propeller pushing air backwards. It's no different than me standing on the skateboard, and when I push watermelons to the left, they push back on me, so I roll to the right. Nay! Again! And so now let's place a brick here so this car can't move, and then add a second cart here with the sail. Now when I turn the fan on, which way will this cart move? Of course to the right, because all that fast-moving air hits the sail. It's like it's being bonked out of those tiny little wheels. So if we now remove the brick, and this cart wants to move to the left, and then this one wants to move to the right, what'll happen when we connect them? Nothing! Because it's a perfectly timed tug-of-war, with each cart trying to move in opposite directions with the same amount of force. A fan actually sort of does work to move the boat forward. You just have to lose the sail and point it the other way. But at that point, you might as well just take that same fan and stick it underneath the boat, so you could much more effectively push against the heavy water instead of just air, which is of course exactly what a boat propeller does. And sure enough, when I plug it in real life, as you can see, I don't go anywhere. So then if we've totally debunked the idea of blowing your own sail, then what about that guy with the leaf blower and umbrella on the skateboard? Well, I've copied this exact same setup here, and I can confirm it actually does work. Yeah! It just has nothing to do with the umbrella or the leaf blower, and everything to do with the fact that this is an electric skateboard with the battery stored right under here, exactly the same as you can see in a bunch of these shots from his video. Now before we get to the last 3, including answering if this demo for tourists is a scam, if you're like me and you love that aha moment when you learn something new, well, I got great news for you.
Let me guess, Labs.
Glad you said it, Jimmy. That's right, because packaging up that moment is why I created Crunch Labs, where you get a super fun toy every month in the mail that comes with a video where I teach you all the juicy physics that make the toy work.
Mark won't say this himself, but obviously he used to work at NASA and Apple. He's one of the greatest engineers you could ever find. He's specifically designing these boxes to teach you all the stuff he learned. He had this water gun that we made, and you can flip a switch when you give it to someone else, and it shoots back at you. I mean, that's awesome.
I've pranked you a couple times with the boxes.
I know.
So if you want to prank Mr. Beast while experiencing a bunch of those lovely aha moments at the same time, just visit crunchlabs.com to learn more. Now coming in at number 5 is the craziest fact I know. Imagine I just finished tying this rope all the way around the world. But now I just found out it was supposed to be a foot off the ground the whole way around. So the question is, how much more extra rope would I need to buy to add to this rope to make that happen? Now you might be thinking double or even triple this amount. And what if I told you you only need this much extra rope? 6.28 feet. Think about that. The circumference of the Earth is 151 million feet, and yet you only need this much extra rope to lift the whole thing right off the ground all the way around. And what's even crazier is if you did this around a basketball, it would be the exact same amount of extra rope. Now the math is just some straightforward 8th grade algebra, and you can see here, because the radius cancels out, it doesn't matter what size circle you use. It always works out to 2 pi, or about 6.28 feet of extra rope. But if math isn't your thing, don't worry, because if you just pretend the Earth is a square, it will immediately be obvious why the size of the object doesn't matter. So if this is my initial rope, when I raise it off the Earth by 1 foot, you can see in each corner, I only need 2 extra feet, so 8 feet total. And just like with a basketball, you'd still get the same answer if you tried it on a smaller 4-sided shaped like your TV, which is pretty close to the 6.28 extra feet needed for a circle. And number 6, there was a Kickstarter a while back that claimed to have invented a floating backpack that reduced impact forces by 86%.
Welcome to the future of backpacking. You've never seen a backpack that moves like this, or that lets you move like this. And this motion isn't just for show. By suspending the load, Hoverglide reduces impact forces by 80 to 90%.
I really took an interest once I noticed a lot of people in the comment section were debating whether or not this would actually help. So what do you think? Is this a scam? The case for it not being a scam is that when you wear a normal backpack, as you bounce up and down, with each step you take, you're working with gravity as you move that entire weight up and down with you as well. Sort of like pulling this weight up and down with a stiff rope. But if the backpack was elastically suspended on a track, its own inertia would tend to keep it vertically in the same spot. So you can still bounce up and down while the pack wouldn't move. It would be like replacing that stiff rope with an elastic one. At which point you can see it makes it a lot easier on my arms moving up and down as the weight stays in place. But the naysayers pointed out all the pulleys, cords, and extra frames to make the system work is still an extra 4 pounds of weight. And whether it's bouncing or not, you're still carrying 4 extra pounds to the top of the mountain. Plus, the video just shows the ideal use cases in real life. It probably wouldn't work that smoothly hiking over the terrain. And I felt like both sides sort of had valid arguments. So as a firm believer in the scientific method, I ordered one myself and then went hiking for a few miles with a normal backpack and then put the exact same amount of weight in the Hoverglide backpack to qualitatively compare the difference.
So far I don't like it. It feels like it's like rocking me back. Try jogging. Oh, that feels good. That's kind of the trick, I feel like. If you hit the right cadence, it's magical. If it's not the right cadence, it's the opposite of magic. Oh yeah, now it's... And then it gets out of sync. Throws you literally off balance.
So my verdict is that on flat, predictable terrain, it can be beneficial. But on any sort of rough, sporadic hiking terrain, this is not worth the extra weight and force of having sync missions. And for our final science challenge, we're back to the equator in Ecuador. This popular demonstration for tourists. Does the water really drain in opposite directions, even just a few feet on either side of the equator? And relatedly, the toilets also swirl in opposite directions in the northern versus southern hemisphere. Now for the toilets, let me just debunk that myth out of the gate. Because if you look closely, the swirl direction is just a function of which way the nozzles point, as you can see here, and with any toilet you inspect yourself. But what about sinks that have just a drain, like in the demo here, where there are no nozzles? Well, believe it or not, there's actually some truth to this idea because of something called the Coriolis effect. And it's the same reason you might have noticed weather patterns like this spinning counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, in which case we call them hurricanes, and clockwise in the southern hemisphere, in which case we call them cyclones. And the reason for this is pretty straightforward to understand. If you imagine you have a very big sink that spans from the equator all the way up to the North Pole. In that case, a single drop of water in the sink at the equator here is going for a joyride really fast as the Earth spins. And a drop of water near the middle is moving at a medium speed. But a drop of water at the North Pole isn't moving at all because it's right on the axis. So now when you pull the plug on the sink and the water moves towards the middle, the drop here is suddenly moving laterally much faster than the slower water that was near the drain. So it gets out in front of the drain. And conversely, a drop here at the North Pole is laterally moving much slower than the water near the drain. So it falls behind. So when all the drops are affected this way, you naturally get a counterclockwise swirl, just like a hurricane, where the eye of the hurricane is the low pressure zone like the drain. And then of course applying all the same logic to the southern hemisphere would naturally do the opposite, resulting in a clockwise swirl. So does this mean that sinks do in fact drain opposite in the northern and southern hemispheres? Well, sadly, no. Because the Coriolis effect is really only noticeable the greater distance you're moving up or down from the equator. So unless you have a 5-mile wide sink, or if you make the most perfect conditions like my friends Desmond and Derek showed,
The water is flowing clockwise due to the Earth's rotation.
The water is going counterclockwise because I'm in the northern hemisphere. It's real.
this effect is way too small to have any meaningful impact on the swirl directions of sinks and toilets, at which point it comes down to other factors like sink geometry, or the fact that the seemingly still water was actually still barely moving around when the plug was pulled. So then what about that tourist demo? Well, if you play it back and look closely, you can see at the end of his pour, he does this subtle twisting motion. So the water will just continue to swirl in the direction of the twist. So when he finishes the pour here, he twists this way, and the water continues swirling that way. And then after moving the sink allegedly over the equator, he finishes his pour twisting the opposite direction. yourself at home to see that by copying this method, you can also easily get a whirlpool directions. And therefore, it should come as no surprise that when I ask this question,
Does it work even like if I pour the water?
I was denied the opportunity to test and observe. On top of all that, as the final nail in the coffin, if you actually look up the GPS coordinates of this place, it's more than a football field away from the official equator, which means we were actually in the southern hemisphere the whole time. So instead of actual science, this is just an attempt to take your money with nothing more than a magic trick, where the real magic is all that new juicy knowledge I just wirelessly transferred through that screen you're watching me on from my brain into yours. It's a new year, which means it's a great time to invest in that passion for learning. Because that passion is not only the main driver for why I make these YouTube videos, but it's also why I created CrunchLabs, where we ship a really fun toy to your porch every month. And not only do you learn how to build and think like an engineer, but you learn the fascinating physics and engineering principles that make the toys work. Every month is a new principle, and the best part is, just like how you hopefully enjoyed watching this video, it doesn't feel like learning, because we're real good at hiding the vegetables. And what I mean by that is 87% of kids rated an 8 through 10 on a fun scale out of 10, but also more than 3 out of 4 parents said their child gained a new passion around STEM and engineering after getting the Build Box. On top of that, each month your box has a chance to contain the platinum ticket, and if you get it, then you're coming out of CrunchLabs to build with me and my team for a day. So if you want to invest in the superpower of having a passion for learning, just go to crunchlabs.com or use the link in the video description to get your Build Box subscription today. Thanks for watching. These guys just broke into my car in San Francisco and stole my backpack. What doesn't find out is that thanks to some high-tech glitter and fart spray delivery mechanisms, that's no ordinary backpack. And this guy's also trying to break into my car, but what he doesn't realize is those are bulletproof windows, because that's just fun. Every year, 20,000 cars are broken into in the city of San Francisco. But who's behind all these break-ins? Like, is it organized crime, or gangs, or just random individuals? And then what happens to all this stuff that they steal? Well, just like when we use the power of glitter to infiltrate and shut down those terrible scam call centers in India, I'm happy to report that having teamed up with a veteran investigative reporter and gotten our Bay card broken into 25 separate occasions over the past 8 months, we now have a much clearer picture of what's going on and even some thoughts on how to stop it. And as this video is the conclusive finale to the whole Glitter Bomb series, it's time for reels. I'm so happy to report that we finally got some really good reactions to that perfectly harmless yet wretchedly abhorrent fart spray, including one that's not too far off from a college. It's here. If you haven't seen any of my other Glitter Bomb videos, the 15-second recap is that 5 years ago, these two took a package from my porch, which inspired me to combine my engineering skills with my Christmas time affinity for Kevin McAllister. And that not only led to different versions of Glitter Bomb bait packages that would spin, spray, flash, stick, punch, or fly, but it eventually led us over to India, where we ended up infiltrating and shutting down 5 of those terrible call centers. You said last year we were fighting, and then was true. So earlier this year, I had the unfortunate realization that glitter and fart spray hadn't solved all forms of crime worldwide when my own car was broken into.
Not missing a window. Not cool, San Francisco. Not cool.
That also made me realize our 11-hour copy together car package last year never got enough footage to uncover who was actually behind all the San Francisco car break-ins. So 10 months ago, for one final time, we completely redesigned the Glitter Bomb from the ground up, only this time it would be custom built just for cars. For starters, instead of using centrifugal force to fire the glitter, this year we'd be using 900 psi of compressed gas. Because if you take a CO2 bike tire inflator and attach a pipe to the outlet, then connect the high-torque servo motor to the opening valve, and then repeat that configuration and stack them on top of each other, then we load those pipes with copious amounts of biodegradable glitter and fart spray, and then trigger the servo motors, that highly compressed CO2 compact form factor into the base of a custom-sewn backpack with external access to the outlet nozzles. Like in years past, we'll still capture footage using a pair of phones that get tucked into the sides, with the added benefit of serving as the backpack GPS and the speakers for the countdown timer. And once these backpacks are stolen, they'll of course be on the move all over the place. And since there's no guarantee we're going to get them back, for the third year in a row we turn to my friends at T-Mobile to make sure no matter what, we get the footage from the cloud, given the complete coverage and crazy speeds of their network that I've actually gone out and benchmarked myself before. Finally, we lock up the bottom compartment to prevent tampering, then use a rubber stopper glued to a patch to plug and conceal the outlets. Then as a decoy to divert suspicion, we got some clothes and a bunch of old non-functional laptops to place in each bag. We also did a second version with a suitcase form factor and identical guts in case word got out about the backpacks. Then the car itself has 8 hidden dash cams, all powered by a 2,000 watt-hour camping battery in the trunk that also plugs into the backpack with 2 barrel jacks. One to keep the entire device and both phones at 100% charge until stolen, and the other to serve sort of as a digital tripwire, so the backpack knows exactly when it was stolen to initiate the stolen bag protocol. We also served up 2 more surprises this year by first creating a bait car with impossible to break polycarbonate windows, which is the same stuff bulletproof glass is made of. That car also has the added benefit of a microphone in the trunk for detecting when someone's trying to break the window, which will of course release the air in this tank, triggering this dramatic piston with a special surprise. And as a final idea, we took an actual gaming laptop, removed the extra fan, and in its place added a GPS tracker that would continuously stay charged by using the laptop battery. That way we'd always know where it was, even if they wiped the phone. The thought here was to put that laptop in a backpack to actually get stolen with no glitter involved. And then with the help of Dan Noyes, who spent 30 years as the chief investigative journalist for the San Francisco ABC 7 News team, we could trace the laptop's footsteps and try and get some answers. So after a couple of months of designing, testing, and building, we put them out in a few different cars, and we waited. And we didn't have to wait long. But before I subject you to gratuitous amounts of broken glass, I'm gonna start off with a little broken glass of my own.
3, 2, 1.
Nice shot, Eloise. I'm Mark Grober, and for over a decade, I've been making YouTube videos to showcase what it means to think like an engineer. But what exactly does that mean? Ready? Whoa. Thoughts?
Problemless catalyst.
Good call. It means you know failure is part of the process. It's how you learn. And thinking this way makes you a better soccer player or piano practicer because you're resilient and you keep tweaking and trying until you get it right. Or you just come up with a totally different solution. Because if you think like an engineer, you think different. And that unlocks creative new ways to have fun. And that's exactly why I created Crunch Labs, where you get a super fun toy that gets delivered to your porch every month.
Thanks, Mark Grover.
You're gonna love that one, Sarah. See you next month. And then you put it together with me as I teach you all the juicy physics that make them work. So if you want to train your brain to see the world in a whole new light while having a ton of fun at the same time, just go to crunchlabs.com right now and reserve yours. Out of the gate, it was pretty clear if our goal was to find out who's behind all these car break-ins, they were going to do everything in their power not to find out. But the advantage of teaming up with an 18-time Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist is that when one of our 8 cameras catches these guys nearly causing an accident, we can play it back so Dan can run their license plate, which must be precisely why they did their license plate. Thankfully, on our third break-in, our luck improved. And this time, we struck payment, because once Dan ran the license plate, we made a shocking discovery. Turns out this could belong to a longtime SF State College professor who also sits on the board of this so-called charter school. And so like any good investigative journalist, Dan found his home address and showed up to confront him. Except he turned out to be a really nice guy who informed us that his license plate was stolen from his car a few weeks prior. And what Dan would eventually learn on nearly all the other license plates he would run over the course of our operation is that not only do the thieves commonly drive around with stolen license plates, we got Georgia plates, but they tend to steal from a similar color and model as their own vehicle to avoid an obvious mismatch. So the car thieves showed they can handle our cameras and investigative techniques, but now the question was, how would they handle a little bit of harmless glitter? Spoiler alert! thing he does is check the trunk by pulling down the seat, trying to unsuccessfully steal our strapped down battery. This is pretty common for them to do, and it's why leaving valuables in your trunk isn't really a great option. In the end, he changes his mind not just about our backpack, but our laptop too.
4, 3, 2.
This next one is truly one of my favorite reactions ever, because one of the guys proves there actually is honor among thieves as he takes the full blame for the parts brace. And I'm just gonna let the tape roll to give you an exclusive first-person viewpoint of what it's like to ride along with some of these smash and grab vehicles.
I got it right for it, man. I got it right. Yes. That's one part of going down the street. You gotta eat.
No, stay, bro. Get in the car, run. Get in the front seat.
It's outside, get it. It's outside. Why you in the back?
No, let him get in the front. Let him get in the front. Go quick, bro.
Get in the front. Open your door. No, that's the place I go to my shit.
Let's go. Good luck. Keep searching. Hold on, no. Oh, you heard that sound.
15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
We were surprised to learn that more than half of the steals weren't from thieves traveling in cars, but that still leaves them to developing their own strategies. For example, this guy here has already scoped out and wants to steal our backpack. The problem is, all these people over here would see it. It is unless he just waits for the perfectly timed obstruction. This guy not only has an official construction worker type vest on, but his technique is to break it on foot, then walk his newfound treasures back to his car, where he can now discreetly lean in through the window to see what he got, which probably works out really well 99% of the time. But it's hilariously the worst possible strategy in this case. Because in the end, he leaves the backpack behind and drives off, having stolen just what the parts brain took. The one thing all the thieves had in common was how quickly they could break the glass. This is actually surprisingly difficult to do if you don't have the right technique, because all car windows are made from tempered glass, which, by the way, as far as inventions go, is an incredible feat of engineering, because it not only makes the glass much harder to break, but if it does break, it shatters into harmless pebbles that aren't going to leave deep cuts. The one Achilles heel to tempered glass, however, is it's extremely vulnerable to highly concentrated points of stress. So while this window can easily withstand my soccer ball, baseball, and even a wrench, if I take a simple spark plug and harness just the ceramic insulating part, the sharp, ultra-hard aluminum oxide is able to create a tiny localized stress point on the window, and that's all it takes. And that's why in every case there usually some form of this spark plug in a handle form, where the tip is a really sharp piece of ceramic or hardened steel, at which point it doesn't take much force at all. And since it's typically so easy for them, while the pop-up face didn't activate because of a dead battery issue, it was still really heartwarming to see them pulling up a window when a juicy piece of luggage was just sitting right in plain sight, only to eventually leave in frustration, totally empty-handed. And to be fair, quite a few of the break-ins were from individuals who would be a stretch to classify as seasoned professionals. For example, this guy tried to use a blowtorch to break the window, which definitely isn't. He eventually finds a screwdriver to snap the edge of the glass, but then realizes he broke the wrong window and the backpack won't fit out. So he goes to unlock and open the door, but now he set off the alarm. So he has to ride off to avoid suspicion with mission unaccomplished. Or there's this guy who spends about an hour trapped in the car, pacing back and forth to come up with a plan and work up the courage to make the steal. Only to eventually learn this hopeful life lesson on taking stuff that isn't yours. Now before I end this video, and the whole Glitter Bomb series for that matter, with hands down the best reaction to the fart spray we've ever gotten this year, I want to revisit the question Dan actually answered through all these break-ins in the first place with regards to who's behind these and why. And I'll start by saying, typically on the news, you'll see organized groups like this because that just looks really intimidating. But that was much more of a rare occurrence in our experience. More than 80% of our steals were just individuals acting on their own. So like, not some kind of organized gang operation. And a majority of the 80% that were individuals, honestly, didn't seem like they even did this very well. So then why are they doing it? Well, as we were trying to figure that out ourselves, we sort of made a breakthrough on our GPS tracking. Because after it was stolen, it came to this location for about a half a day, but then after that, it made its way over to this neighborhood, and that's where it's been ever since. But the thing is, Dan recognized that first spot, because he did a news report more than a month and a half earlier, when he told the story of a video producer who tracked his stolen gear there, because the thieves knew it was a fencing operation where he could quickly exchange the gear for money.
He's on the phone with the San Francisco police officer when he sees his camera gear arrive at this location at 200 block of Leavenworth. And he goes, oh yeah, that's a known major fencing operation. Everybody in the Bay Area knows that they can bring their stolen goods and offload them there.
And look, there's a whole host of things that these 20,000 cars per year getting broken into, they're taking stuff that's theirs, and some of the core issues down here are super complicated and require nuance and public policy to address. But right below people stealing from cars are these fencing markets. There's a demand for these stolen goods. So it feels like shutting down these markets and not having a place to exchange stolen goods for money so incredibly easily would go a long ways to stopping car break-ins. This is also why you see people stealing things like soap and toiletries from a place like Walgreens. The thief doesn't need that much soap, but when he knows he can easily turn it into real money in less than an hour, you eventually get stores that look like this, or just permanently have to shut down altogether. And I can't imagine how controlling the city simply makes it hard to know, but when you have a public news report about the spot apparently everyone knows you can go to sell stolen items, and then 1.5 months later, my laptop goes to the exact same spot to be sold, it certainly feels like more can be done here to remove the incentive for the break-ins and store thefts to occur in the first place. So with that, I'll leave you with this. And I feel it's very important to point out here that this fart spray is perfectly harmless and green. It just truly smells really, really bad. Because after breaking not one, but two of our windows, he yells out a racial slur ostensibly at an innocent bystander. And in the most perfect definition of instant karma ever, 2 minutes later, the draggy ensues.
I'm gonna toss it. Stop driving. Stop driving.
So that's it, my official final wrap on the whole series. And if you've been keeping score at home, we've had 167 porch pirates glitter bomb themselves, as well as 29 car thieves. We've returned $50,000 to elderly scam victims, and had 5 scam call centers shut down, with 53 of those scammers arrested. So thanks for watching and sharing these heartwarming videos over the years. And of course, a final thank you farewell to these two, without which none of this would have ever happened. Like an engineer, because I myself am an engineer. I worked at NASA for a bunch of years, and now I make YouTube videos to get kids stoked about science by building ridiculous contraptions. But just passively watching a YouTube video only takes you so far. The real learning occurs in the trenches, and you're engaging all the senses by building alongside me as I teach you all the juicy physics that make the toy work. And our secret as to why we've delivered millions of these boxes already is because we're real good at hiding the vegetables. And here's what I mean by that. 87% of kids rated an 8 through 10 on a fun scale out of 10. But also, more than 3 out of 4 parents said their child gained a new passion around STEM and engineering after getting the Build box. On top of that, each month your box has a chance to contain the Platinum ticket. And if yours has it, well, then you're coming out to Crunch Labs to build with me and my team for a day. So if you want to embark on this monthly journey with me and get a Christmas morning reaction like this, just go to crunchlabs.com or use the link in the video description where we're giving away 2 months free as a holiday special. Thanks for watching. This is my pet octopus named Sashimi, and this is a vault filled with all her favorite food. The only problem is, in order to get to this vault, she'll have to rely on her incredible intelligence and dexterity to make it all the way through this 9-part underwater obstacle course. And just like when I made my backyard obstacle course for squirrels, out of the gate, I will admit in hindsight, I completely underestimated the capabilities of this remarkable creature. But to understand how we even ended up at this spot, we need to go back in time 6 months when I decided to get a pet octopus to see for myself if they were really as smart as people say they are. And after bringing her home to Crunch Labs and putting her into a saltwater optimized and appropriately decorated tank, she made herself right at home. And the first thing that stood out is just how curious they are. For example, when you put anything into the tank, including your arm, they immediately swim towards it and just want to interact. And we'll cover this in a minute, but beyond just being able to really securely latch on to things like my hand, she's so strong! Oh my god! Oh, the suckers are also gathering information about me, like my smell, taste, and color. So after just a few weeks, given how playful she is, it's hard not to form a quick bond. For example, she loves to go up and wave her tentacles in the gesture, which I assume is the octopus equivalent of the dog sticking its head out. She loved cats with us, she had a propensity for selfies anytime she saw a camera, and whenever we'd put a toy submersible in her tank, she would go full 20,000 leagues under the sea. And as I did more research, I learned that for the 100 million octopi every year us humans put on a dinner plate or in a pet store, basically all are born and originally raised in the ocean, meaning they aren't bred in captivity, which is when I was having a startling realization that essentially made me the bad guy in Finding Nemo. And since no one wants to be the bad guy in Finding Nemo, as much as we've already come to love sashimi here at Crunch Labs, I did some investigating and found out from the pet store we got her from the exact spot they pulled her out of the ocean. The only problem with my plan of returning her is she's been hand-fed now for quite some time. So the idea was that if she could figure out and remember how to solve an obstacle course maze, then I would be assured that she could figure out and remember her early days hunting in the ocean, and we could send her back home with confidence. Phase 1 of the plan was to give her some challenges and then observe her behavior to understand what capabilities she actually had. And as it turns out, it's a lot. For starters, their ability to color and shapeshift is unmatched in the animal kingdom. For example, can you spot the octopus hiding in plain sight right here? The only only thing more impressive than that is when you slow it down and play it in reverse to see just how quickly and convincingly these changes occur. And it's not just camouflage as a form of protection. They can also mimic the shape of larger, more predatory animals like eels. And as Sashimi shows here, and you can see here, they even come up with some pretty creative ways to sneak themselves around. And on top of that, there's stories from octopus researchers where they will recognize and shoot water at only one specific person anytime they walk by the tank. And they'll still recognize that person even if they switch clothes with other people. Or there's other stories where the octopus will repeatedly shoot water jets at the light switch to turn off the lights in the room. It's also not uncommon for them to escape their tanks at night to better map out the room they're being stored in, or to even raid the other tanks for food, only to return to their tank in the morning like nothing ever happened. And after a month or two of observation, once we had really come to understand each other, we had all the data we needed to interface too. So after a lot of brainstorming, CAD, 3D printing, and laser cutting, we eventually landed, starting at the conclusion of the 9-part obstacle course with the golden ball. If she can figure out how to unscrew the vault door, well then she's earned the 3 pounds of her favorite food, shrimp, contained therein. And the reason we know it's her favorite food is because over the course of a week, we prepared an underwater seafood buffet with 4 different food options. And all 4 times we repeated the experiment, the aroma from the shrimp was consistently the most irresistible. But in order to earn that succulent reward, she's got her work cut out for her, starting back at the beginning with challenge number 1, the over-under. If she finds a way to get under this barrier with these rocks, well then she's got to find a way to get over this barrier with these floating balls. And if she manages that, then it's through the green circular portal where she'll find herself face to face with this 4-panel revolving door. And if she works out how revolving doors work and makes it through the next green portal, well then Sashimi will basically be met by a wall. And at this point it's game over, unless she correctly deduces that by pushing this block out, she can pass through the corridor and continue her journey upwards to the ball drop. And this is where things level up a notch, because dexterity becomes much more critical. In this case, she has to grab this lever and rotate it in this slot, which will allow it to fall down with the balls trailing behind, clearing up the pathway upwards through the tube. But then once she swims up the tube, she'll be trapped, because the porthole out is blocked by this red gate. That is unless she figures out how to hit the emergency exit button, which will push this glass counterweight ball down off the edge, thereby pulling the gate up and allowing entry into perhaps my favorite obstacle, the fish out of water. Because here, the only way for Sashimi to continue her progress would be to flex her ability to comfortably live on land for up to an hour by crawling out of the water, up, over, and back down on the other side. Where after passing through the portal, she gets a bit of a power up, because on the backside of the snorkeling Fat Gus is a shrimp. Now this is a bit of a throwback to the tourist trap on the squirrel maze, where a strategically placed snack led to a timely photo op. But in this case I call it the Medusa, because the hope is that as she eats the shrimp with her beak on the underside of where her legs all come together, it will look like Fat Gus has 8 braids of beautiful flowing hair. And now that she's feeling refreshed, Sashimi can hopefully finish strong with the penultimate challenge, which is sort of a double obstacle, because there are 6 holes in the top, ranging from small to really small. And if she takes the easy route by squeezing through the least small hole, well then she has a lot more minutes to deal with, as opposed to the smallest hole that puts her right at the finish. Either way, at this point she's made it here, and if she solves the final puzzle by unscrewing the vault door, she's not only earned the all-you-can-eat seafood buffet, but she's proven she's quick enough on her tentacles to handle being returned back to her ocean home in the very tight clothes she was missing. With everything in place, all there was left to do was open this ball valve. And as the smell of fresh shrimp made its way to her tank, she made her way down the tube like an 8-legged gladiator to her saltwater home. While we wait for her to make that 40-second trek, this is the perfect time to mention that if you want a Christmas morning reaction like this, or this, then a Crunch Labs Build Box subscription is the answer, because with the Build Box, not only do you get a super fun toy that you get to put together every month, but you do it alongside me while I teach you all the incredible physics behind how it works. We're right there in the trenches, building, learning, and succeeding together, so the principles really sink in. So if you're a kid and you're looking for something to put at the top of your Christmas list, or you're just looking to be the household hero by giving it to someone else, use the link in the video description or head to crunchlabs.com, where we're giving away 2 free boxes as our holiday special. Now back to Sashimi. After making it into the main tank, then sort of exploring the borders of the base for a bit, she made her way inside fairly quickly, but then sort of just chilled, like she really didn't understand what she was supposed to do next. But since you can only ignore the ambrosial smell of raw fresh shrimp for so long, she eventually got curious and started exploring. And one of the first things we observed is that anytime she's in a new environment, she kind of maps things out by walking around, gathering data with her arms, as opposed to just swimming around freely in the middle. first challenge was a bit of a softball, because having observed Sashimi in her home tank, I knew she was good at digging and burrowing herself in the sand, using the water propulsion from her siphon tube to clear the rocks away. The floating balls were even less of a challenge for her, and after making it through, you really get a sense of how much she sends out her arms as scouts to gather critical information. Especially in the wild, they can reach their arms around and inside crevices, not only to smell and taste, but as we'll cover in a minute, even see and independently think. So obstacle 1 was pretty straightforward, but figuring out how to operate a revolving door would be a much harder task. Wow. Okay, I see how this is gonna be. This was my first real indicator that we were headed for a real battle of wits. It was a similar feeling to when the squirrels eventually outsmarted my rope bridge of instability by just jumping over it altogether. And I really should have seen this coming, because as you can see in this video of an octopus escaping from a ship, as long as an opening is bigger than their beak, which is the only actual hard part of their body, then they can eventually squeeze through it. In fact, if we roll that back, you can see Sashimi's beak, or mouth, right here. And while this part looks like a big nose, that's actually their main body, where all their vital organs reside, like their brain, stomach, gills, kidneys, ink sac, siphon, and their 3 hearts. 2 other cool facts about octopi is their blood is blue because it's copper-based, since that's more efficient in cold, low-oxygen environments. And if they lose an arm, they can regrow it completely, and it will look indistinguishable from the original. Next up was the block push. Once again, she got to this point and was sort of stumped without an obvious path forward. But this is where their natural curiosity pays off, because she's not just feeling surfaces with her arms, but also constantly pulling and pushing to see what she can interact with. And so sort of by default, she figured out this red part of the wall doesn't push back as hard, which cleared the way up to the ball drop. And I knew this one would be tough for her, because number 1, there's not enough room for her to just squeeze by, and number 2, pushing and pulling on walls wasn't gonna solve it either. And after struggling in vain to find out what she was supposed to do for quite some time, eventually she got frustrated and just stopped and sat there, almost like she was processing all the data she just gathered. And this was the moment I knew for sure I was in over my head. Because while basically maintaining eye contact with me as a flex, she reaches up with one arm and then twists the bar, which dislodges the ball, allowing her to clear them out and move on. And this feels like the perfect moment to tell you that my absolute favorite fact about the octopus is that they are truly the closest thing we have to intelligent alien life on this planet. And here's what I mean by that. This is a very simplified version of a tree of life. These kind of diagrams show you how all life is related and what evolved from what. How do we know this? Well, by being true scientific detectives and looking for clues. For example, a few hundred years ago, scientists noticed that us humans have 7 vertebrae in our necks, but so do giraffes. But wait a sec, so do whales, mice, elephants, lions, horses, and bats. So that's a clue they all share a common ancestor and belong to this group called mammals. And it's not just neck bones. Watch what happens if you compare the hormone configurations of a human to a bat, to a chicken, to a turtle, to a dolphin. It's wild what tiny beneficial mutations and millions of generations can produce. And of course, with genome sequencing developing over the last 40 years, it's allowed us to compare the DNA of different species and sort of check our answers in the back of the book. Anyways, using these techniques, if you want to see where our lineage broke off from that of octopi in the tree of life, you have to go back over 500 million years ago to a simple plateau. So if you look closely, all of what we think of as the smart animals are over here on this side of the tree, including dolphins, dogs, pigs, horses, humans, but even birds, dinosaurs, and fish. And their intelligence and way of thinking are all related to each other, sort of like those arm bones I showed. But octopi developed their intelligence completely independently from everything over here, like an alien from another planet, and that's why they're built so differently from us. For example, they have twice as many neurons as a cat, but unlike all the animals over here where all the neurons are focused in the brain, in octopi only 1/3 of their neurons are in the brain, and the rest are in their arms, which means they not only smell and taste, but they can even think and act independently with their arms. That means that even if their arm is cut off, the arm can still camouflage itself to the surroundings by sensing light. It would be like closing your eyes, walking into a room, touching a wall, and having your hand match the color. Having 8 independent mini brains along with a larger central brain is as incomprehensible as alien intelligence to us. Now back at the maze, Sashimi had made it to the emergency button, putting her at the halfway mark. And as usual, she starts by having her arms do all the recon work. And it's almost like once she feels the red door, she figures out my trick and then immediately pushes the button to drop the ball and open the gate to move on to my favorite obstacle, the fish out of water. And I was relieved to see that I had thrown her another curveball, because after quite a bit of exploratory arm expeditions, she realizes the only way forward is up and out. So after psyching herself up, she just goes up, over, and eventually down. And this demonstrates another octopus superpower, because they can survive out of water for up to an hour. And as you can see here, it's one of the reasons they're such successful hunters in and around tide pools. And now that we're coming down the final stretch, I figured she deserved a bit of a snack break with the Medusa. And just like I'd hoped, once she saw the shrimp attached to the back, she starts chomping down with her beak. And since that's right at the center of all her legs, we get a couple different hair options for Fat Gus. Starting first with a more free-flowing sandy blonde option, which eventually morphed into more of a dark hair. Now the reason she's able to change her appearance so drastically is because all octopi have 4 tricks up their sleeve. First, their skin is covered in tiny little sacs called chromatophores, filled with either black, red, or yellow pigment, and then they use their muscles to stretch those sacs like a balloon to achieve any combination of those 3 colors. Then they've got a layer below that called iridophores that bounce back specific wavelengths of light, giving those iridescent blues like peacocks or beetles. Then there's even one more layer that reflects back ambient light called lucifores. On top of all that, they can also use a muscular structure called papillae to change the texture of their skin, creating ridges and bumps. And because they can change any of those in as little as 200 milliseconds, which is literally less than the blink of an eye, it makes them the true masters of disguise in the animal kingdom. Now she was onto the maze, and you can see she opted for the largest hole, which of course means she had the maximum amount of maze ahead of her. And I love this because it's sort of classic sashimi at this point. But you can see she's willing to play along for quite a while and make just about every possible wrong turn along the way, but then eventually she's over it and just cuts right to the end. And while that's technically an automatic DQ, I took the high road and let it slide, which brought her to the Golden Vault. After a month or so of training on all the obstacles, she had finally done it. And with the tide on her side, she went straight for the door, ripped it off the foundation, and then immediately basked in the sweet, delicious taste of a hard-earned victory with the largest stockpile of shrimp she'd ever seen. And after letting her gorge for a bit, it was time for me to uphold my end of the deal and give her the Finding Nemo happy ending she deserved by driving her 8 hours down the coast back to the exact beach where she was raised. Having figured out and remembered the solutions to all my dumb puzzles, I was convinced she could certainly figure out and remember what it was like to hunt for her own food in the open ocean. And this was a bittersweet moment, because there's one octopus fact I haven't mentioned, and that's that their entire lifespan is only about 1.5 years. And as a final act, after laying her eggs, a female will continually watch over and protect them to the point that she stops eating and dies. Which meant in the exact same coves and tide pools that her mother did for her, soon sashimi would be extending that ever-changing tree of life by one more generation. Only perhaps this time creating a new branch of super intelligent puzzle-solving offspring. With everything you know about sashimi at this point, it should come as no surprise she also has incredible taste in toys. But what should also hopefully not surprise you after watching the videos I've been making on YouTube for 12 years is that learning science and engineering doesn't have to be sucky and boring. Which is exactly why I started a toy company called Crunch Labs with the express goal of helping kids think like an engineer through monthly toys that get delivered to your door where you put it together with me. And having already shipped millions of these boxes, the data is in. 87% of kids rated an 8 out of 10 on a fun scale out of 10, but here's the dirty secret. More than 3 out of 4 parents said their child gained a new passion around STEM and engineering from the boxes. Our secret sauce here, just like on my videos, is hiding the vegetables so everyone leaves feeling stoked about the outcome. On top of that, each month your box has a chance to take a platinum ticket, and if you get it, well then you're coming out here to Crunch Labs to build with me and my team for a day. So if you want to embark on this monthly journey with me and get a Christmas morning reaction like this,
Oh my gosh!
just go to crunchlabs.com and use the link in the video description where we're giving away those 2 boxes free as a holiday special. Thanks for watching. Which has more destructive power, lava or acid? To answer that question, today they'll be going head-to-head in a bit of a scientific face-off by testing each against 7 objects, including a turkey leg, an iPad, slabs of ice, toys, a baseball bat, a diamond, and finally, an actual functioning car. the buttery smooth voice of a high school chemistry teacher, Niall Red. And his opponent in this matchup will be YouTube's very own Lava King. You love him much more than his neighbors
I
did.
didn't think the fighter was like almost to the top. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Kevin, the backyard scientist. But there's a catch, because there's no way I was going to skate by a notch. So for each of the 7 objects, I'll be testing a wild card factor obstruction that will be different for each object. So for example, for the turkey leg, my wild card factor obstruction may or may not be Ravenous Piranhas. And then for the baseball bat, it might involve Superman X-ray vision that can do this in 2 seconds. And the nerd trash talk commenced immediately.
Nothing beats a volcano.
I think acid could.
Or the X Factor. You guys don't know what I'm bringing to the table. Oh, and I do want to mention, while I have no Mr. Beast, winner of today's competition gets a car. I'm not
Really?
even tricking.
You can drive it?
But before we even got started, the right place, someone you might recognize from our world's largest London battery collab show, Mr. William Austin. But since he legitimately wasn't even invited, I made a B-referee. And so with the terrifying realization that I really should have larger spare referee shorts on hand, it's time to commence our 7-item showdown of destruction, starting first with Kevin's Magma getting a chance to destroy a turkey leg.
Here we go. Turkey leg versus lava.
Yes!
He's enjoying this way too much.
Boom.
That was more violent than I was expecting.
Once it eventually cooled down, we cracked open the crucible to inspect the damage. And while it definitely charred the outside, it just turned the rest into a perfectly cooked, refined, delicious Thanksgiving turkey leg. Which I know, because we definitely all gave it a taste. Which meant it was time for acid to enter the chat. And I guess in hindsight, this shouldn't have been a surprising result considering what our own stomach acids do to food, but given a little bit of time, it was terrifyingly efficient.
Guys, come here. What do you think of the turkey leg?
What's the clear and what's the dark stuff here?
The dark stuff is the turkey leg.
How do we know? Throw it in the bush over there. Take a look.
And so after a fruitless search for foul play, if I was going to steal round one from Nigel's acid, it would come down to my brilliant wild card element of destruction, which just so happened to be a school of 50 piranhas I located in a New Jersey pet store that took less than a minute to clear a drumstick down to the bone. My plan, however, was ruined when I went to ship the piranhas, because apparently in California, they're illegal to own as pets. Fortunately, the pet store informed me that buck-toothed tetras, while smaller with enough of them, would apparently do just as much damage. And while there was a bit of a nibble frenzy right when I put it in, when I raised it up, it was basically untouched, which was embarrassing not only for me, but frankly, for the state of California.
Remember what you said at the beginning of this? You eat it. I definitely never said that.
Which gave acid the early lead, sending us into round 2 with the iPad. Kevin and his lava were hungry for a double, and that hunger only intensified when they saw the C-tier YouTube content playing on the iPad.
Sorry, Will.
Oh, now we can't see if it's playing.
The Vuln Rocket practically melted the iPad, but for the real question, was it enough to stop the iPad from playing? Yes, of course, that's confident. Nigel was up next, and with more video content suitable for destruction loaded up, he slipped the iPad into 8 liters of concentrated acid.
Oh, the video turned off instantly.
It was time to see what acid would do.
Give it time. Give it time.
And even with a full hour of soaking, not much happened besides some kind of small reaction that turned the acid some cool colors, which makes this the perfect opportunity to debunk the idea that there are acids that can immediately dissolve all metals. Now you might say, hold up, Bert. I've seen really popular videos like this online where the metal spoon is immediately dissolved in acid. However, I would offer the counterpoint that the reason he can safely dip his fingers in the acid later in the video is because that's not acid. It's watered down Mountain Dew, and that spoon is actually made from gallium, which simply melts in lukewarm liquid. Now, certain acids can dissolve certain metals, but it's a process that just takes as it turns out.
Oh my.
Yeah! Even after all this, it still had enough kinetic energy to dent the back wall.
It almost split the whole thing in half.
This is very violent. Let's see your acid do that, Nigel. Is this a W? That's pretty cool. Okay.
This meant I was tied for first as we headed into the ice round.
Are you ready?
Fire versus ice! And lava came right out of the gate, sizzling hot.
Oh wait.
You didn't make it through one!
Look at him bubble though.
Admittedly, the bubbles were pretty cool, but other than that, Kevin was grasping at straws.
Look, I made lava spaghetti.
The ref tallied the final count as only breaking through one of the 12 flavors. Noting that the final break was too little, too late, which made it Acid's turn. And almost immediately, oh wow, it tied lava.
Oh, it's through. It's through.
It's through! Wow!
I'm trying to aim.
And it just kept breaking through each layer as the acid mixed with the water, creating an exothermic reaction that bored a hole through the ice like a laser.
Yeah, one more. Why am I rooting for you?
Ultimately, Nigel's acid made it through every last sheet of ice, which meant my wild card would have to do the same and do it faster. Gentlemen, my approach here is a little bit more Kevin than Nigel. I feel like that did nothing.
Wow, you're making water.
All right, a good engineer always has a backup plan.
As a timely delivery of potential energy from the Acme Corporation, not only finished off my ice, but it also took care of Nigel's.
Technical foul. No, that was a regular foul.
But with further evidence of referee bias,
Flamethrower, not flamethrower and anvil.
you're ruining everything with the win-win tonight. We put Acid back in first place, headed to the toy city. And this one for sure had Toy Story vibes going on. Whoa! Which definitely makes Kevin backyard safe. I eventually swooped in to save the townspeople. I'm a hero! But arguably it was too little, too late.
I don't think you can make it.
So with an identical set of toys ready to go, it was more bad news for the action figures.
Start with some sulfuric.
Sulfuric, as the forecast called for acid rain. And after a combination of several acids, the townspeople were mildly inconvenienced at best. The normative reaction with a plastic toy sort of makes sense in hindsight, because polymers have highly stable chemical structures, so the acid can't break them down, which is not only the reason it takes them so long to degrade in the landfill, but it's also why most acids are therefore stored in plastic containers. So in contrast to that lame result, it's time for the Mark Rover wild card in the form of a 2-ton steamboat. While I get this figured out, this makes a great time to mention that if you haven't been to Crunch Labs yet, I have the next best thing, because you can now visit Crunch Labs for free in Roblox. But it's way cooler than that, because the game's called Build a Rocket versus Mark Rober, where you build fully customizable rockets with your friends, and then use your engineering skills to help me defeat the evil Fat Tail and rescue my squirrel friends. And we've been secretly working on this project for over a year, and I already know people are going to get mad and say I'm just doing this as a trick to teach you science. And to that I say, how dare you? I'm just trying to make a really fun, free game, and if you happen to learn about projectile motion and Newton's second law in the process, well, that's it. Oh, and the coolest part is that anyone who passes the game with help backed up before the end of the year can enter for a chance to win a platinum ticket to come out to Crunch Labs in real life for a day. I will make a real life version of the rocket engineering game. So visit crunchLabs.com/Roblox and prepare to learn how you can enter, and then you can go play Build a Rocket on Roblox for free, so you can learn stuff. I mean, just like have a bunch of fun building rockets with your friends. Now where were we?
This is very unsportsmanlike.
Nigel's acid to top it.
This time you got it, Nigel.
Yeah. At this point, it's me, and I'm actually gonna go with the wood bat. Because my contraption just happens to be a 2,000-watt laser. Which you may or may not recognize, because this is Kevin's laser. It's true. And it's also how he knew a fact that I didn't.
You shouldn't have chose wood.
This 2,000-watt laser is actually terrifyingly effective against metallic objects. So we ran a test. Wow! Clearly, I need to swap for the metal. Judge, can I? No. Now you see why he wasn't invited. Regardless, I pressed on. All right. Oh my goodness, it's pretty strong. Here I go. And this was honestly the closest thing to a real-life lightsaber I've ever experienced.
Oh my god, he's like 2/3 through, I think.
Oh! Heck yeah, baby! Look at that. Pure destruction.
I think that is really cool, and Kevin's laser did it.
And with that questionable ruling, it meant if I didn't win the diamond round, I couldn't outright win this competition, even with the finale worth 2 points. 1.2 carats right here. I don't. As usual, Kevin kicked things off as we completely encased the diamond in sort of a lava sandwich. And after it cooled off and we chiseled away the actual obsidian, nothing for lava, the diamond was perfectly intact. 1.2 carat diamond versus acid.
It's working.
Classic acid. It was time for the wild card to kick it old school and get back to basics. I'm just gonna smash the crud out of this. Just to reclaim my honor with the W, heading into the final challenge in 3, 2, 1. I missed! No! Are you kidding me? That round's a wash. You have 2 points, you have 2 points, you have no points because nobody invited you, and I've got 1, which set up the perfect finale showdown where we each brought our own junkyard car.
Mark. Where's Mark? That's probably Mark. Oh, he hit my car!
Dude, why'd you park so close?
I only know how to drive a Mars rover, mister.
The rules were simple. Whoever could disable their car the fastest would get 2 points and win it all. Starting first with Nigel, who was pulling out all the stops.
I have a propane burner here with a nice big beaker loaded with hydrochloric acid. We start adding nitric acid, and this will make the same mixture that can dissolve gold. Aqua Regia. Start the engine. We'll get this Aqua Regia nice and hot. It'll just start tearing all the metal apart. To trigger it, I have something special.
To pour the acid on the car from a safe distance, he had a clever solution. But before we could get to that, we were rudely interrupted. Wow, more uninvited science YouTubers as Stephanie and Alan. And since they were already here, I put them to work with more questionably sized reference. After which, Nigel was up. Now when acid comes in contact with the surface of the metal, it rips away the metal atoms like a magnet. We call this corrosion. So you can increase the corrosive destructive power by either 1, increasing the concentration of the acid, meaning there's more magnets, or 2, you heat it up. Because if a liquid's hot, that just means the molecules are moving around way more, so you increase the chance an acid molecule will make contact with the metal and attract away an atom. And so in this case, as a last-ditch effort, Nigel did both. Now we just had to shatter the beaker.
Yeah, this is just making holes. I like the slow release.
There it goes! That is terrible. I've never seen a gas that color before. Now for the verdict.
It's still running.
Honda makes a good car. And as
Just put it out of its misery, Mark.
And with my finishing move,
There you go. That's pretty good.
I'm very precariously balanced. While the horn was somehow still working, the engine was definitely not. And I returned to receive the praise from my contemporaries.
The machine was impressive.
All right,
Lava.
so for the grand finale, the lava poured, it was time for Kevin's escape. Luckily, we had some fire extinguishers on hand. That basically did it. So now the judges just have to confer amongst themselves. Don't make me regret ever even having invited any of you in the first place and deliver the verdict.
Kimmy, your car stopped in 4 seconds. Nigel's car still runs perfectly.
Literally still
But
running.
it could stop at any moment. And Mark, how long did Mark take?
10 minutes to even get on the thing.
Which honestly feels like a technicality, but I'm nothing. It's not a gracious loser. And as a reward for a fight well fought, I gave Kevin the indestructible 1.2 carat diamond. Congratulations! Now go drive off in your cars. You're welcome. I'm basically... Given that we've been secretly working on this Crunch Labs Roblox game for over a year, I'm super stoked to show you in an exclusive world premiere the official game trailer. Build a rocket, where the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning. I'm Mark Rober, and my new game Build a Rocket is your key to a super cool space adventure. Build rockets here at Crunch Labs, journey to distant planets, mine for valuable resources, then build even cooler mega rockets to explore the furthest corners of the universe. You can build with your friends, customize your rocket with unlimited combinations, navigate treacherous space environments, and then use your mad engineering skills to help me defeat the evil rat Fattail to get my squirrel friends back. Building your first rocket is super easy, but if you want to master the game, you'll need to think like an engineer and balance your rocket's mass, thrusters, fuel supply, and navigation capabilities. As you explore each planet, you'll find unique challenges and super rewards. Will you dig deep into the alien soil of the Martian surface, or make some discoveries on uncharted planets like Twistopia, or Balloonanza, or Marshmallow? Well, that's totally up to you. And in between rocket missions, you can hang out with your friends at Crunch Labs. You might even spot some Easter eggs, including hints of whatever my next video will be. And Crunch Labs is actually a real place. It's where I come up with the ideas and builds for all my videos. And anyone who beats the game before the end of this year has a chance to win a platinum ticket to Crunch Labs in real life for a day, where we'll build an actual version of the rocket which you designed in the game. Visit crunchlabs.com/Roblox with a parent to learn how to enter, or you can just play the game Build a Rocket for free on Roblox, because I'll actually be there playing myself a bunch, and I can't wait to see the super clever ideas that you come up with. Thanks for watching. These guys just stole my entire bowl of Halloween candy, even though the sign clearly says take one. But what they don't realize is I spent a year preparing for this exact situation. Because this year, candy thieves will have to deal with booby traps such as silly string, collapsible tables, full-size candy bars being swapped with toothbrushes, actual human hands to stop the thievery that just materialized out of nowhere, and even some high-tech systems producing wanted posters of themselves all over the neighborhood, which means they get offered the healthy way. Every year in America, kids dress up in costumes and knock on doors asking for candy. But in many cases, if the homeowner is out trick-or-treating with their own young kids, they'll just leave a bowl of candy out and then rely on the honor system for everyone to take just one piece each. And since last year was my final year of making glitter bombs to catch a porch pirate, I felt it was time for me to graduate to the true criminals, the punk teenagers, and even sometimes terrible parents who take all the candy from the bowls so there's none left for any of the other little kids. So to come up with the perfect revenge, I knew I need to enlist the help of the foremost expert when it comes to Halloween pranks. Just the kind of person who would put out a challenge like this. Create all your Halloween candy.
You told me to do it?
Mr. Jimmy Kim. Hey, what's up, brother? Jimmy, you are the I told my kids I eat their Halloween candy guy.
I am.
I'm the glitter bomb guy. I feel like if we combine those, then you get, we're gonna prank kids to take more than one piece of candy.
Oh, I thought we were gonna make kids eat a glitter bomb.
So we kicked off the brainstorm and quickly stumbled on some good ideas. Something like 10 times that average weight leaves the bowl.
Devices in the candy itself.
Shine on them.
That's good. Or you just start rocking slowly.
As well as some really good
Breed monkeys. Get them real crazy.
Real crazy.
Teach them to protect their candy.
But what if they just take one though?
Well, then we have a problem. I don't know.
But in the end, like any pair of good engineers would, we ran some tests in the interest of child safety.
It's important, this work that you're doing.
Yeah, of course. Which meant all we needed now was a 15-second film montage. And so in the end, we landed at 10 different options to honor my traditional approach to engineering of bringing a cruise missile to a knife fight. Starting first by punishing greedy candy thieves with your standard run-of-the-mill remote trigger spinning candy bomb. This contraption also features a car horn and an RF-enabled trap door with dual sleeping silly string canisters that will leave the thieves reconsidering their life choices. Next up, we have the standard-looking table with a catch. Because of the custom-built weight sensor under the bowl, powered by a load cell and microcontroller, detects that too much weight is removed in too short amount of time, well then it triggers this quick release, which makes the hinged legs unstable, meaning the candy thief will think their actions cause the whole table to collapse. And of course, with safety always as our #1 priority, those glass jars are actually sugar glass, which look and behave like normal glass, but are totally harmless. And also, as it turns out, don't taste like sugar. For this next one, the thief will come to the door, steal the candy, and then have no idea I'm about to scare the crud out. See if you can spot the thief. Back and forth, but then move intentionally position the head to reveal its fate, lulling them into a false sense of security so they steal the candy and meet the Mulchman. Now of course, before they take the candy, I can't see what's going on under there, and a normal porch camera has way too much delay. But it turns out, a baby monitor is the perfect solution with almost zero latency. Next up, we have an actual human hand that somehow materializes out of the candy bowl to stop any would-be thieves. We do this by taking a page from the Zach King playbook by putting a full-size mirror diagonally down the middle so it reflects a fake image, allowing me to hide under the table in ready position. Once again, the baby monitor comes in clutch here to help with the timing. For this next one, we raise the stakes and drop them right in the center of a candy theft sting operation with a couple cleverly concealed lights and a loudspeaker. And now, mission accomplished, the message loop switches to entertainment mode.
Now do all the Fortnite dances.
Now the remaining 5 ideas really level up the sophistication because they rely on multiple houses. Starting with this first one where once the weight sensor detects a steal, the mailbox containing a Raspberry Pi takes a picture, runs a facial detection algorithm, then automatically crops the face and prints this template at a neighbor's house all within 10 seconds. Then once the door is answered, they now know that you now know. And you switch from full-size candy bars to toothbrushes. Because I honestly remember as a kid feeling so offended when the neighborhood dentist passed out toothbrushes instead of giving us the candy that was our God-given right. Now this next one is pretty simple yet effective, because once you've confirmed the steal next door, they come to your porch and you place a specific set of candies in their bag, because one of the candies contains a simple remote-triggered vibrating motor, while the other contains a small intercom. So we lead off with the buzzing, and then once we've got their attention, we substitute for their misguided conscience. Stop stealing all the candy from the little kid. This next one's more in the realm of psychological warfare, because we hide this ultrasonic speaker near these witches, and then play some whisper sounds while the candy thief waits at the door. Now with the normal speaker, you would still hear noise on the other side of a perfectly soundproof barrier, because the wavelengths we can hear are on average 30 feet long, which means the sound can diffract around the barrier. But with an ultrasonic speaker, the wavelengths are really short, which means they can't diffract around, which makes them highly directional. So the speaker's there, I hardly hear anything right here, but when I step to the left, it's just like in my brain. The camera here picks up on it a little bit, but it's just something you have to experience in real life to truly understand.
This is so weird.
Now the penultimate contraption is possibly my favorite, because it sends the thief who steals all your neighbor's candy on a emotional roller coaster. Because if you attach two candy bolts to an axle, then link that via chain drive to a 4-horsepower fully integrated brushless motor, well then those two bulls will swap spots with each other at 85 miles per hour. Which means the thief gets real excited as they approach a bowl of full-size Mr. Beast candy bars, only to find 80 milliseconds later, it's a bowl of full-size toothbrushes. And our final contraption is possibly the most intricate, because once a theft is detected, the mailbox records a 10-second clip which gets sent a few doors down and merged into a pre-recorded video. So when the thief comes to the door, this is what they see.
Our new team has just obtained some exclusive footage of more than one piece of candy being removed from a bowl that is clearly labeled, "Please take one." Take a look at this video. Seems like a normal door approach. Oh, there it is. Wow, that is a clear violation of the "Please take one" sign. And that's just a shame, because every kid who now comes to the door won't have any candy left for them. If you're seeing this right now and you have any information about who these culprits might be, feel free to contact our tip line here at the station.
And while they stare in shock, you give them an opportunity to wash down their newfound glory with a handful of broccoli flakes. Now is all this overkill just for some kids taking a little extra Halloween candy? Next, we put up a random assortment of those 10 different contraptions on 35 porches all across America, and then set up a command center where we could monitor all the candy bolts in real time. Then all we had to do now was wait for it to keep dark. And while we do that, I should quickly mention, if you love a good harmless prank as much as Jimmy and I, then this is a magic coin bank. When you try and figure it out by sliding the lid forward, you'll find it has built-in spider protection, which grandmas love. And this is a tripwire you can place anywhere around your house to protect your stuff. Or even in your stuff. And those are just two examples of the build-it-yourself toys that come in a monthly Craigslist Billbox subscription. In fact, the number one rule is they just have to be really fun, so you don't even realize all the incredible engineering you're learning every month as you put it together, and I teach you all the juicy physics that make it work. If you want to have a ton of fun while learning to think and prank like an engineer, visit CardsLabs.com to learn more. And as the sunlight continued to decrease, the eager trick-or-treaters began to increase, which meant we now just had to wait for the punk kids or terrible parents to steal some candy. And we didn't have to wait long. And there was plenty more where that came from. For anyone else, take it at the previous house, so he earned a box full of conscience. Our candy selection, but less stoked with our audio selection. And after taking more than their share next door, these two minions didn't even make it to the porch. The mirror hand illusion also did not disappoint.
Nope.
Mulchman. There it is. Mulchman. Hi, kids. I'm the Mulchman. Notice the Scarecrow kid confirmed that he was in fact all alone. What are you doing? You didn't take more than you should, were you? How much candy did you take? Yeah, that's right. Put it back. One more handful. All right, now get out of here. The Mulchman's always watching. Only take one candy. I saw that. But the Bushman also knows it's not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness. Thank you for taking just one. Thank you. This girl almost walked away accident-free until she considered that the only thing better than one full-size candy bar is two full-size candy bars. And finally, if these kids weren't so focused on taking more than their fair share, they might have noticed this oddly placed mailbox.
Video. Seems like a normal door approach. Okay, we're checking out the collection.
In my ongoing quest to be the favorite uncle, I've tried quite a few things at times. But now I've finally discovered a much easier way so you too can be the favorite uncle, or aunt, or even parent by simply gifting a young person in your life a Christ-like Billbox subscription for the holidays, so it gets delivered right to their doorstep, and then we build a really fun toy. It's basically like unlocking your own personal Mark Rover video every month, where you learn a new engineering principle that will have you not just building like an engineer, but more importantly, thinking like an engineer. So you're developing resilience and problem-solving skills, which means someday your build ideas can be protected from the neighborhood candy supply. Not only that, but each month your box has a chance So if you want to grow your brain in really fun ways with me, just head to crunchlabs.com and use the link in the video description where we're giving away 2 months free as a holiday special. Thanks for watching. This is the world's largest Nerf gun. This is a normal Nerf gun. And for the past year, I've been making good use of my time by working on this, the world's smallest Nerf gun, where you can actually cock it back and fire a dart. And while this is now the current world's smallest Nerf gun, our goal for today is to break that record not once, not twice, but 3 times, shrinking it by a factor of 10 each time we move down. And if my math's correct, that means by the time we get here, you'll be able to fit 5 of them across the width of a single human hair. But before we can start breaking all these records, we need to talk about the first major problem we encountered just to get here. And it relates to the fundamental way a Nerf gun works. Because when you pull the gray cocking mechanism back, it brings this spring-loaded piston with it all the way back until it hooks in with this catch mechanism. Now we're loaded and ready to fire. So now when you pull the spring-loaded trigger back, it forces the catch mechanism back down, releasing the piston plunger, which quickly springs forward, forcing all the air in the chamber out. And since the lightweight foam dart just happens to be in the way, it goes along for the ride. And if you actually take one apart, you'll find it's made from 87 parts, 13 sprees, and 6 hinges. And so the first problem you face if you're trying to shrink that down to human hair scale is it would be impossible to assemble those tiny mechanical springs and hinges, which left us with the incredible challenge of trying to make our entire tiny functional Nerf gun out of only one single part with no springs. And as it turns out, there's only one place in the world that leads the research in creating really tiny bendable machines from a single part, and it also just happens to be where I got my undergrad degree in mechanical engineering, which meant it was time for me to head back to my alma mater, BYU, to visit some old friends, starting with one of my favorite professors, Dr. Howell. Good to see you, Dr. Howell. I'm trying to remember what grade I got in your class.
I looked it up this morning.
I'm guessing an A-.
Man, that's right. Well, if I disclose that, it's a violation of federal privacy.
For what it's worth, he teaches much better than he poker faces.
And who would have known that there's bright, energetic students in the class? They're going to become one of the most famous engineers.
Not me, I'll tell you that. Not me. And I say that with confidence, because he was also able to locate my student ID. And the only thing more aggressive than those eyebrows was the decision to rock the double puka shell necklace for picture day. Our first stop was to finally meet in person with a group of BYU students I'd been working pretty closely with on this project for about a year. So today was all about the final meetup to see if this was a mission accomplished situation for us. And Jacob, who led the student team, summarized the second major issue we face here.
The physics of scaling down is huge. Friction and surface forces are multiplied exponentially.
Besides the difficulty of assembly I mentioned before, this was the second reason we needed to be made out of one part, to eliminate the exponential friction forces between moving parts at tiny scales. Our plan was to come up with a template design that was full size, and if that worked, we would just keep scaling that exact shape down. But what should that look like? For example, how do you even store energy to fire a dart with no mechanical springs? Well, here was the first prototype, and while it's still more than one part, you can see the clever way the springs were replaced with a few new parts that stored energy by being flexible. In engineering, we call that a compliant mechanism, and I happen to know the world's foremost expert in that field. This is the book on compliant mechanisms.
Oh, I think so.
And he's as humble as he is biased, because this is hands down the #1 cited book in this field.
A regular mechanism is going to have rigid links, and something like hinges are going to make it move something like this.
And this is a very common type of mechanism called a four-bar leakage. Dr. Howell explained that you can make that out of only one part.
We get our motion from something that bends, flexes.
And this is a great demo because if you overlay them on top of each other, you can see the resulting motion is totally identical.
And that is compliant, it is flexible, and that is a compliant mechanism.
And as Dr. Howell went on to explain, the compliant mechanism version offers 6 advantages. Number 1, it's fewer parts. In this case, 8 versus 1. Number 2, lower cost. There's no labor for assembly, and your whole thing can be made in one process, like 3D printing in this case. 3, it's more precise. It always returns back to the exact same spot, and there's no slot between different parts, like the hole in the hinge. 4, lower weight. This is crucial for space applications. benefits. 5. No friction between parts. That means no wear between moving parts and no need for lubrication. And finally, number 6, we got built-in springs. Every material has built-in springiness, so the shape you choose can clearly take advantage of that. He then proceeded to show me some other mind-bending examples of defined mechanisms, like this single-part light switch, or this single piece of metal bending in ways it feels metal shouldn't be allowed to bend, or this single sheet of plastic cut in such a way where it's really flexible in one direction, but really stiff and unbendable in the other. They've commercialized some defined mechanisms like this one-piece windshield wiper for surgical cameras, so doctors can use one hand and clean the lens like this, instead of constantly pulling it out and doing this. And they've even done some work for NASA, where you can get a thruster to point in any direction using a single titanium structure that bends and just Alright, so back to our Nerf gun. After many more prototypes, investigating countless different ways to store the energy, we landed at 3 final cannon designs, all of which achieve our primary design objective. The first design was a zigzag. It looked really cool, but the flexures didn't store that much energy for deflection because they're just embedded. The second design was a fishbone, and it was better at storing energy using a combination of compression and bending, but the bending ribs weren't very long. Longer ribs will need more power. And so for the third and final design, Jacob accommodated longer ribs by offsetting the backbone. And this ended up being the most optimal design. And if we swap out the plastic for the metallic alloy, it could store more energy for the same reflection, which means it can fire a dart even more powerful than an ordinary pneumatic Nerf gun. Plus, it sounds really cool. And now that we settled on our template design, darn it, that was almost cool. It was time to set our first world record by shrinking this template down 10 times.
So this is 3D printed using an SLA printer.
And what's cool about this relatively new process of 3D microprinting is that you can achieve orders of magnitude finer resolution than your typical PLA printer at home, which is why I was so stoked to finally try and fire for the first time.
This is actually called 3D bullet.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No way. When you pop it back, you see the flexures are in fact bending, storing the energy just like okay, here you go. That was amazing. It fires the dart around 3 feet, which is really interesting because that's also a factor of 10 scale down from how far a normal Nerf dart fires.
All right, Bethany, it's only appropriate we have a Nerf blaster accuracy contest. There's a penny out here. Closest to the penny wins. Are you ready?
Like 6 inches.
3, 2.
Oh man, mine went so far! And while mine did shoot further, Bethany was closer to the penny, so she earned the W.
New world record, world's smallest Nerf fight.
And by the way, we're making all the CAD files we used available on Thingiverse for free, so you can have your own 3D printed Nerf battle at home. I'll leave a link in the video description. There's even some designs there that are LEGO compatible, so you can get real clever and design your very own flight mechanism. Now it's time to shrink down to 100 times smaller than a normal Nerf gun over in the Micro Mechanisms lab. But before we did that, I asked to make a quick detour for a very specific reason. It was the smell more than anything that really brought back the nostalgia.
It smells like a bunch of 19-year-olds with questionable height. This is my room, 32 o'clock.
Lucky for me, they were between semesters, so I could have full access to the room to get right down to business. I invented a way to break into other dorm rooms in about 1.4 seconds.
Well, it's not there, which means there's only one option.
So to make one, you just start with the roller duct, wax them with plastic, brush off the unused uranium, you should be good. All these years.
Love.
And so with mischief managed, it was back to work. Wow, that is minuscule. And at this size, we had to use a microscope to see what was going on.
Can we fire this thing?
Absolutely.
And on top of that, there's no possible way I would have the dexterity to load it up with tweezers, so we used a micro manipulator instead, where each turn of these knobs will move the needle probe fractions of a millimeter in one of 3 directions.
All right, now continue going down.
Oh my God. And it feels a little bit like diffusing a bomb because you have to be so incredibly careful since the slightest turn of a knob forgot to mention this version of the Nerf gun is actually grown from carbon nanotubes, because there just aren't many other ways to make something this small and precise. It's a two-step process Bridget walked me through, where you start in a clean room and use photolithography to create a pattern on a silicone wafer, very similar to the process of making microchips. Then for step 2, using the wafer as a mask, you get a thin layer of iron in the spots where you want the tubes to grow. Then you put it in the furnace and then blow very specific gases over it at very hot temperatures. The whole process only takes about 8 hours, but when you're done, you're left with incredibly precise, tiny little structures. The smallest firing of a Nerf gun ever. In 3, 2, 1. Well done, team! It's kind of like it's there, and then it's not there. There's just something so satisfying about seeing a compliant mechanism design still function just as well, even when it's 100 times smaller than the original. With that out of the way, all that was left was to challenge an ant to a Nerf battle.
This is actually like a perfect scale for an ant.
And I actually tried to start some beef here by firing a dart as well, but he was seemingly unintimidated. Wow! Oh, okay, he was definitely unintimidated. He took my gun! You guys made one in order. But before we get to that, you should know that the water fight equivalent to the world's largest Nerf gun is the world's largest Super Soaker. And sadly, you can no longer buy normal Super Soakers, but we designed something that's better for 2 reasons. Number 1, you get to put it together yourself so you actually understand and see how it works. And number 2, there's a secret prank built in, because after you spray your brother, you do the right thing and give him a free shot in return. But before you pass it over, you discreetly turn this valve. Then you watch him self-own. And then you run. If you want to experience the store for yourself, then you're going to have to get a Crunch Labs Build Box subscription, where you get a super fun toy every month, which comes with a video where I teach you all the juicy physics that make the toy work. So if you want to have a ton of fun while learning to think and to crank like an engineer, visit crunchlabs.com to learn more. Back to breaking world records, it was once again time to shrink down by a factor of 10, which makes this spec right here 1,000 times smaller than a normal Nerf gun. Wow. And so in order to truly appreciate the proper scale here, I had to make a sacrifice. Got one. Oh, wow. Look at that. Now admittedly, these are just the outline without the internal compliant mechanism. In part because even if it were there, it's just too small, so we have no way to actually pop it back and pull the trigger. And so for the 4th and final world record, it was time to shrink down one last time by a factor of 10 to land us at 10,000 times smaller than a normal Nerf gun. Oh, I just had to find it. Is that on here as well?
Yep.
No. 5 of those are incredibly unhealthy looking hair. And at this point, we had to upgrade to their Electron microscope to properly appreciate the scale here, as Ivy walked me through the resulting images. And that's a human hair there, but to even appreciate how small a human hair is, we found a dead ant outside, and you can see at this scale, it looks like a giant alien monster by comparison. I also found it fascinating to see what the carbon nanotubes actually look like with these things. And so without the aid of an electron microscope, that final world record Nerf gun is an imperceptible speck of 5th the width of my hair right here. And that's insanely tiny, but in an effort to do a better job at protecting this record for my buddies, I knew I had to go even smaller. And not just an additional 10 or 20 times smaller. We're talking 300 times smaller. That makes it 3 million times smaller than a normal Nerf gun. It's so small, in fact, that a single drop of liquid like this could contain trillions of them. And I know what you're thinking, Mark, that's crazy. And with that scale, you basically need 4 million ingredients. Which was precisely our plan. To pull it off, I need to head down to the Salk Institute in San Diego, California. Now, Salk is a non-profit biological research institute founded by Jeremy Salk. My favorite thing about him is not necessarily that he discovered the cure for polio, but that after doing so, he decided to forego the $3 billion he would have made by patenting the vaccine, and instead made the cure available for free to everyone. And that attitude of altruistic, scientific curiosity permeates the Institute still today, creating an environment for discoveries like the helical structure of the DNA molecule, which just so happens to be the exact reason we're here.
The technology we work with is DNA
origami, uses DNA slightly differently from how it's used in biology. This, by the way, is Paul. He's a genius who runs his own lab here, and his passion about everything and anything biological is contagious. I mean, don't get me started on bacteria phase there. Paul explained that if you want to build a house, you first need a blueprint that has all the specific instructions for how to build the house. And the equivalent of a house blueprint in nature is called DNA. Every single cell in your body has DNA that looks like this, with a complete set of instructions on how to build you. And that's DNA's only job in nature. Some of Paul and the predecessors asked this interesting question: what if you use the DNA itself? So instead of using DNA just as the blueprint to give information to build something else, what if you effectively use that blueprint as a sheet of origami, telling you where to cut and fold so the blueprint itself becomes a tiny little structure? Here's how they actually do that. So if you think of DNA, right, it's two strands, and they're usually complementary. If you have an A here, you have a T here. If you have a C here, you have a T here. And then when they come together, they kind of zip up. A binds with T, and C binds with G, and so forth, right? So if you have two complementary strands, they will zip up and form this familiar double helix structure. But what if they weren't completely complementary? What if, like, this part here was complementary to this part here, but then this part here was not complementary to this? So then you have these two flimsy parts that haven't paired up yet. So now if you introduce the third part, for instance, that binds to these unbound parts, you can create junctions, right? And those junctions, you can then branch them out and build them further into larger structures. So using that principle, they start with a naturally occurring single-stranded DNA they call the scaffold strand, and on a computer, they design out the shape they want. Now as it stands here, there's nothing attached to the other side, so it would just lose its shape. But if you add in a bunch of what they call staple strands of DNA that are specifically designed to match the corresponding sections on the scaffold strand, they effectively lock it into the desired shape. So in theory, if you just put a random scaffold strand and then all the corresponding custom-made staple strands in a solution together at the right temperature, and then let it sit for a while, it would automatically self-assemble into an infinitesimally small Nerf gun made strictly from DNA. Can't set a world record with just a theory, it was time to make some Nerf guns. So with a little help from Lauren and Amanda on Paulo's team, we got right to work. Step one was to take a solution containing trillions of scaffolding strands of DNA, and then mix in another solution containing quadrillions of the staple strands of DNA. Then we placed that magical mix into 8 individual tubes, and then placed them in a special oven that would maintain the ideal temperature for the self-assembly process to occur, and we set a timer.
Okay, let's come back in an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I feel like I should pretend the whole process was harder than that.
Ready to eat, yeah.
But when the timer was up, that was basically it. So after a quick final process using an electric field to separate the successfully merged guns from all the strands that didn't successfully merge, you're left with a few drops of water containing 1.2 trillion of the world's smallest Nerf guns. So the final step, we just needed to prove to ourselves that they were actually in there. And that's where Jocelyn comes in. You need help, Jocelyn? I'm told you are the person that makes these seeable.
I can help with that, although there's no label on it.
Oh. And what's wild here is it's beyond the realm of physics to build a typical microscope powerful enough to see these, because our Nerf guns are 100 nanometers in length, which is 5 times smaller than the actual wavelength of visible light. So Jocelyn's using an atomic force microscope instead, where there's a super tiny probe that just drags back and forth on a surface and encounters anything as small as a single atom. It raises the probe up, and that deflection is measured using a laser. So if you drag that tiny probe back and forth enough, you sort of feel your way to revealing what can't be seen. So after a little while, Jocelyn returned, allowing me to now present to you a small sampling of the world's officially smallest Nerf guns, made entirely just of DNA. And what blows my mind is that each of these is made from just a few thousand atoms. To comprehend just how small that is, if you laid them end to end, it would take 2,000 to fit across a single human hair. Your move. So as I closed out my visit, Paul let me know about how this project had sparked some ideas for his team. If we can make specific Nerf blasters, or whatever you want to call them, DNA injection devices, and we can target particular kinds of cells, then we can make much more targeted treatments for a range of diseases. But in all of these therapies, you need to deliver the correct DNA. So how do you get those into the cells? but I don't know him enough. And as I closed out the trip, I couldn't help but feel a little extra nervous. Because by giving them an admittedly ridiculous challenge, I got a tiny glimpse of the cutting-edge research happening at both BYU and the Salk Institute. While a Nerf gun by itself won't do much to help humanity, it was a small reminder that millions upon millions of engineers and scientists in labs all around the world are dreaming up the big ideas, working hard right now to improve the lives of future generations by solving some of the toughest problems of our time. It's a sentiment possibly summed up best in the science. Hope lies in dreams, imagination, and the courage of those who dare to make dreams. What I love most about people like Jonas Salk and Paula is the creative confidence they exude as they approach their problems. It's an attitude that can be learned. It's why the goal of every Crunch Labs toolbox is to help you think like an engineer. But the learning doesn't feel like learning, because every month you're having tons of fun with a really cool toy that you put together yourself. We learn all the physics behind what's going on while building your creative confidence along the way. And since the holidays are coming up, there's nothing more fun to put on your list, nor is there a better gift to give than an investment in the future of your favorite young person in your life as you watch their confidence and resilience grow. And possibly the coolest part of all is each month you randomly select one box to slip in a final ticket. It happens to be yours. Coming out right here at Crunch Labs to design with me in mind. So if you want to unlock the superpower of learning how to create and build whatever you can dream of, even if it's really, really small, just head to crunchlabs.com and look at the description to learn more. This is me running for my life in a forest as I'm being hunted by an animal specifically trained to find humans. Because today, not only are we going to discover how tracking dogs do what they do, but we're going to test and debunk the 5 most common bloodhound myths. And for this final showdown in the woods, she has 1 hour to find me, but what she doesn't know is I've done my research and engineered up every contraption in the book to give them some glimmer of hope against her unfair superhuman advantages. But as preparation for that big forest finale, in order to understand the limit of the dog's capabilities, I first extended an invite to Crunch Labs to run through some basic tests, starting off with a simple challenge involving just my hat. This, by the way, is Shay, and this is Zinka. Now what makes Shay so cool is she's been working as a volunteer expert search and rescue handler for over 30 years. Which means with all that experience, she and her dogs have pretty much seen everything. But have they ever seen this? I mean, could you find me amongst all these tastefully distributed human mannequins? Because all I see is a guy with incredible flowing Jimmy North hair. Now as for Zinka, after checking out all her options, she made pretty quick work of the exercise. Do I smell that bad? It was me all along, Shay. So out of the gate, I learned 2 things. First was that even an expertly trained human hunter still enjoys the game of fetch, like any human. And the second was Zinka's not actually a bloodhound. That's what I thought. For our first of 5 myths we're debunking regarding scent trailing dogs, these days, bloodhounds are almost never used. The most common dog breed for search dogs are German Shepherds like Zinka, because research shows they're just as good at discerning smells as a bloodhound, but they're also extremely intelligent. She explained that picking up on the scent is like Zinka finding the puzzle pieces. It takes her intelligence with the pieces of the puzzle together. And now that we've cleared that up, it was time to run some real tests. Alright, Shay, the hiding test. Can she find me hiding in the lab? Everyone's dispersed out there. I got a good hiding place too.
But I need a scent article.
What works as a scent article?
Your wallet.
How about my watch? Okay. There you go. So I was off to my killer hiding spot, and after a quick pizza distraction, I threw in my first curveball by using the fireman's piston instead of the stairs to get to the lower level. Then it was up the other stairs to bury myself under a blanket of cubes in the foam. Yeah, bury me. Then it was Zinka's turn, and you can see here just how briefly she needs to stick my watch to lock in on her target. Out of the gate, you can see she also falls for pizza distraction, and then walks straight to the spot where, at least to her nose, I had somehow just teleported away. And while this might have tripped up Zinka, Shay was onto my antics and helped reconnect her to my trail below, which meant from that point, as you might have guessed, my fate was sealed. Oh no.
Well, I'm gonna get you on the next one. Okay, Ryan, are you good at hide and seek? How good?
Whoa! For this next round, I wanted to test something Shay mentioned to me that I found really hard to believe.
If multiple people touch an article, they can
I need some volunteers. I just rub this on their arms, right?
Basically, 6 of us combined all our scents onto a single paper towel with a brief arm rub. Then only Ryan jumped in with 15 other decoys and went to hide throughout the lab. And as long as the other 5 of us started off next to Zinka, apparently she could do the math, isolate just Ryan's scent as the missing one, then identify it among 16 decoy scent trails that led down the stairs, which is just certifiably bonkers.
That's it?
This, by the way, is where that puzzle-solving intelligence I mentioned earlier
I know where he's sitting. She's going right there.
comes into play.
It's borderline witchcraft. That was nothing short of magic. What the heck is going on?
Which honestly I took as a challenge, so we doubled the number of arms to rub on that single paper towel to 12, which meant she would now have to isolate the single missing person from the 11 others, then track only that scent amongst all the remaining decoys.
That's crazy. So she's eliminating all of them right now.
Dude, no. And honestly, this one somehow seems even easier.
No way! Bonkers! Good work. Actually, bad work. They got found. I lost another bet.
For the final test, I wanted to investigate the potential myth that the reason Zinka can uniquely tell us apart is because she's actually detecting trace amounts of everyone's unique DNA left behind in their skin cells. That hypothesis would also explain why even though my hat, watch, and arm all smell totally different even to my untrained nose, she still knows they all belong to me. The problem was that to test this myth, I need to somehow find 2 people with exactly identical DNA. But as chance would have it,
Welcome to Crunch Labs.
so the plan was to get a scent article from one identical twin but not the other, and then see which one Zinka would go for.
Go hide.
To remove any doubt, we had the wrong twin hiding in plain sight exactly along the path with the right twin. And there was no question Zinka skipped the twin to secure the win, which meant the DNA sniffing myth was busted, and Zinka is in fact just picking up on complex scent molecules that contain unique chemical compounds for every single person. And at this point, while I was clearly outmatched, I'd already identified a few potential cheats in Zinka's armor that I could exploit for our final showdown in the forest. But I could only learn so much inside Crunch Labs with only 25 volunteers. So what if I could find several thousand volunteers on a much, much larger plane? And this beautiful college campus in Berkeley, California provided me the perfect opportunity. My thought was that having others outdoors, plethora of interesting buildings in every direction, might obscure my own cemetery. On top of that, I arrived a little early, had some opportunities to covertly pass around some of my scent molecules before finally receiving the word it was going to be.
There's no possible way you're gonna find me, girl. What do you need from me? Like a sock. Sorry.
And with that, I made my grand escape with a generous 45-minute head start.
Okay. There are people everywhere. It's like really windy today. The wind's going this way, so I kind of want to like go this way. Keep my scent downwind.
There was no time to waste. There was barely any time to waste. So I did what I could to use my personal molecules behind all around me. I wasn't exactly sure what it would take to ward off Zinka and Shay, but whatever it was, parkour! I just knew it had to be.
So let me figure this out. This is terrifying. I feel like I'm being hunted. I guess because that's there's a bunch of people.
I was going for a big leap once I saw the number of people gathered in the quad when an opportunity presented itself for me just to express some heartfelt appreciation to some good folks who subscribe to my channel.
Here you go, hug it out.
Thank you.
And to be clear, this was kind of my checkmate.
A dog might be chasing you in a second. Be cool. Hey, give me 5. I'm being chased by a bloodhound. I give you 5. I'm being hunted by a bloodhound. Go that way. There is no possible way this dog is gonna find me. The worst part about all this is I have no sock on my right shoe. I'm actually parked up here in a garage. If this dog finds me, welcome our K9 overlords.
I'd made it to my final hiding spot with a few minutes to spare.
That's my car. This is basically a massive Ziploc bag.
selfie friends, the same can't be said for the campus squirrel population. And unfortunately for me, she just totally short-circuited my clever loop maneuver. They just seemed to get caught up with all the sense in the trees and bushes near the parking garage, and while stopping to smell the pine pretty safely. When she beelined for my original parking spot, I thought I might actually have been here after all. But not even my dirty tricks could overcome her lock or my dirty socks. How is that even remotely possible? Does it smell that bad? So while I did have some very minor victories amongst all our testing, I knew I needed to consult someone who had been here before. Someone who was a personal hero of mine and the true OG when it comes to busting myths. Mr. Adam Savage.
Okay.
You have been here, but it's been a few years.
But there's nothing like actually being here. The organized chaos of it all.
And so after briefly soaking in his incredible cave of wonders, we got right down to business.
I'm here, Adam, because I need help. Bloodhounds, am I right?
Though it was one of my favorite sets of episodes we ever
In addition to talking about everything he's learned about scent trailing dogs over the years, he talked about the best mental model for even understanding how Zinka's brain works. Because one way to think about it is everywhere you go, you leave behind a trail of scent molecules. In fact, it doesn't matter if you're walking or even standing still, you shed 40,000 dead skin cells into the air every minute. So to a dog's nose, the trail of all those skin cell scent molecules might look like this with a unique color for every person. But instead of 6 unique colors like you see here, she would need to have at least 8 billion unique colors, since she can ostensibly tell everyone on the planet apart down to identical twins. Additionally, if she knew your scent, and then you used different soap for that day and tried out a new cologne, she would still know you as your exact same color. And that might seem like crazy now, and it sort of is. But to give you some sense of how a brain might work that out, let me ask you a question. Do you recognize this person? How about this person? Or this one? We kind of think of it as no big deal, but your brain also just identified Steph Curry out of 8 billion people on this planet, which is pretty cool because our brains don't have that same unique identifying capability for, like, say, every tree or rock you meet. And furthermore, just how Zinka's nose can pinpoint me if I'm wearing a different cologne, you can still tell it's Steph Curry even if he's wearing a hat, sunglasses, or heck, even both. To continue the analogy further, the way her brain catalogs my unique scent from a sock is the equivalent of the way our brain catalogs a unique face from a missing person flag. And to further defend the capabilities of our own species, for myth number 3, it's actually not true that across the board, we're 1,000 times worse than a dog at identifying smell, because in a few areas, we're actually better. For example, you can practically smell this footage here, right? That's because we can identify the chemicals that enter the air after freshly fallen rain at 1 part per 10 billion. That's 100,000 times more sensitive than a shark's nose when identifying blood. We know in the desert, camels rely on this scent to locate sources of oasis water, so it stands to reason provided an evolutionary advantage to our ancient ancestors as well. Now, as for Adam, I'll return to some additional advice he gave me in just a minute, but for now, after of course having him sign my original Mythbusters blueprint, I showed myself out the door.
I might take a few things on my way out. You heard him.
So after my discussion with Adam and poring over all the footage from all our tests from every angle, I was feeling renewed confidence. I did find a few of Zinka's weaknesses, and if you were paying attention, you might have picked up on a few of them as well. Which meant all I had to do now was exploit those weaknesses with a 12-second build montage. But before we get to that, I just want to know, are you already bored this summer? Because if so, oh boy, have I got the answer for you. And it's called Camp Crunch Labs. It's kind of a 12-week and challenges, you have the option to get them every week. So if you want a 12-week summer camp where you can learn to think like an engineer with 0% chance of sunburn or misleading casserole, head to campcrunchlabs.com where you can reserve one of the limited slots, and I'll see you in summer camp. Alright, Shay, I got my bag of tricks, and the best human or canine win. Here we go. And thus began the final showdown. My plan was to lay 7 traps for Zika and Shay along the route that I would secretly predetermine. And the rules were, once I'd set all my traps and arrived at my final position, Zika would begin, and if she couldn't track me down in less than an hour, I'd be declared the winner. And shortly after regretting not having checked the weather forecast, picked a bad day to wear a down jacket, I was ready to set my first of 7 traps. From Berkeley, I knew my socks really stink, so I would tie one of my extra smelly soccer socks to a drone and set it on a timer delay, and then I would sneak off down a side path. Of course, I knew my body would be behind way more scent molecules than my sock, but the time delay would mean that when the drone flew the pre-programmed flight path, eventually veering off the road and releasing the sock from the servo motor of the bushes, that scent would be much more recent and fresh for Zika to hopefully follow. This one might be my personal favorite. And now that I was off the main road and into the woods, I found the perfect spot for my second trap. I knew from reviewing the Berkeley footage that Zika was extremely interested in squirrels. Taxidermied squirrel, not fat guys for the record. Shay later confirmed this and let it slip it was a combination of their quick movement and their smell that she just found irresistible. So between train track squirrel and taxidermy squirrel, our bases were covered. Now obviously this trap wasn't going to trick Shay. Idea here was given Zika's weakness for squirrels and their 1 hour time limit, every precious minute I got below the waist would increase my chances. After that, I continued up the trail for a few hundred yards until I came to another convenient fork in the path, perfect for my third of 7 traps. I wanted to lay another deceptive trail of my scent molecules going the wrong way in case the drone shots didn't work out. And this time, to really cover my bases, I was going for a 3-prong approach. This land-based vehicle, also known as the Mark Rover, would have one of my socks in the compartment with a big fan that would blow out my scent, and then another sock in a liquid container, that's a nice sock too, that would spray out my scent in case the scent molecules would bond well with the water. And then for the third, since I was out of socks, I'd have to go straight to the source. Using a cheese grater, I harvested some actual pieces of meat to combine with some sawdust, so when the time came, it would slowly leave behind an overwhelming trail of meat, along with the other 2 methods the rover misleadingly roved along. By the way, these weren't just Hail Mary ideas, because we ran some tests with Zika showing she could easily isolate my scent using all 3 of these approaches. We got earth, wind, and water, the trifecta. What I don't have is a change of socks. Dang it. So with everything set and the rover timer counting down, I socklessly set out to set up trap number 4. And this next one is a doozy. This is basically a massive plane and propeller, just without the plane. The thinking here was I really confused Zika when I used the fireman's piston because my scent trail just seemed to stop. Additionally, after reviewing the Berkeley footage, I noticed the reason she got caught up on the bushes outside the parking garage was thanks to the strong crosswind blowing my scent off the sidewalk. So what if I took that to 11 with some 95-mile-an-hour force winds? Definitely be wanting to follow my scent off the road in the direction of the wind, I picked a random spot to sneak off in the other direction on a trail leading straight to the heart of the redwood forest. And there was a stream running alongside the trail, so I took the opportunity to test the idea that dogs can't track you if you're stepping in water that's sweeping the scent away, which is super awesome when you're From there, it was all about agility and stamina to cover a lot of ground through the redwood forest. So 5 of my traps set and only 2 to go, I was feeling confident. Nothing was going to break my focus on the task at hand. Yeah! Alright, back to the hunt. I can't pretend I'm in shape anymore. Which was good timing, because having exited the forest, it was time for my 6th and possibly strongest trap of them all. I got some big plans for this meadow right here. Put a bunch of my scent in this area. The idea is to overwhelm this area with my smell. And believe me when I say, at this point, I don't smell that good. The genesis for this idea came from seeing how Zika got tripped up at the bench where I spent a long time waiting, because there was just a ton of my scent molecules lingering around, or versus the relatively small amount of set molecules for my single exotrail. And for part 2, to further obscure my path, I had a special surprise. The bunny suit. I spent about 5 months wearing one of these every day at NASA as I tested and integrated my hardware on the Mars rover. As you can probably guess by now, the purpose of those bunny suits is to keep in those 40,000 skin cells per minute that we shed so we don't send the rover heading to Mars looking for life contaminated with life of our own. And so with my bunny suit on, I would practically become invisible to Zinka's nose for my escape. But to further tip the scales, I held my breath as I ran away. And if by some miracle Shay and Zinka made it this far, I had 2 final tricks up my sleeve. I knew Zinka was incredibly motivated by food because she would go for any morsel that was left out. Plus, that's how Shay rewarded her when she successfully found her target. In one of our conversations, Shay let it slip that her favorite foods were chicken and cheese.
I mean, you know it, but I just stumbled upon a bunch of chicken and cheese. That's gonna take her the wrong way down the path. Oh yeah, that's a good meal. And then if somehow she tracks me all the way up here, I'm walking right in front of these mini fans. So all my scent goes out into the valley. And this is where I will sit, monitor all the proceedings. All right, team, I am in position. If she's ready to go, we can start the timer. Go. Okay, clock starts. Now. She has an hour to get through all my traps. That's got to sit there and wait.
Not long before they started, my drone had taken off right on schedule, dropped the payload in an unsuspecting bush. And exactly as I'd hoped, Zinka got to the fork in the road, and you can see her trying to work things out as she starts heading right towards the sock bush. But then you can almost see the moment when she realized that it wouldn't be There's no doubt at this point I was dealing with a true professional, but I was confident that with the right distraction, I could go off her game and waste a considerable amount of their valuable time. Of course she does. What's not the law?
Did it throw her off?
It did.
This actually brings us to our 4th of 5 myths. These dogs aren't working alone.
It's not just a thing that the bloodhound can do. It is a partnership between the bloodhound and the handler. You don't get one doing their job at the highest level without the other.
And in hindsight, I guess this seems obvious, but it wasn't something that had occurred to me. Shay's there to help Zinka stay focused, and if she's stuck, Shay can help think of different ideas to help her find the trail again. Just like when I jumped down to the first level, and Zinka was sure I teleported until Shay did some work properly.
Hopefully they lost valuable time there. That counts for something.
But Shay wouldn't be much help with the next fork in the path, where I was pleased to hear the Mars rover had initiated its unknown journey exactly as planned, beautifully wafting, spraying, and littering a fresh trail of me as it roved all the way down the path. This was a massive level up from the drone saw, which meant they were going to get so tripped up it almost felt unfair.
Nope, car didn't work.
What do you mean it didn't work? Did she at least follow it a little?
Just a little, but really where you were walking, she went back on track.
Not cool, Zinka. Not cool.
No way she gets my mega fan. I'm calling that right now.
I lost my jacket and one of my 37 hats to this monster, so I really wanted this to work. And this time, I was not disappointed.
It looks like Megafan might be working.
We got a hit.
She's moving in the same direction as that wind.
She really seemed to be confused about what her nose was telling her, and sensing this and seeing the massive fan, Shay put 2 and 2 together and called her back up to look elsewhere. But then when Zinka hit on my actual escape route, Shay assumed it was another bad signal and called her off again. And this is where you can really see the mutual trust they have for each other, because eventually Zinka circled back as if to say, nah, I know it, this path is totally right. At which point Shay understood, they headed down into the redwood forest.
It sounds like that was my closest one so far. With the ravine and the water, this could be good.
She seems to really love the water. She's frolicking along.
Frolicking.
This seems to be the fastest.
What do you mean the fastest?
She's moving along the path the fastest. Seems like the smell is right on the water.
I thought I had 12 oysters and like really nasty smelling food for nothing.
Shay would later confirm this as our final myth to bust. The scent molecules are actually hydrophilic, meaning they stick strongly to the water and the edges of the stream, making it in fact easier to track things the normal path on land. And since Zinka was feeling refreshed from all that stream frolicking, she had no problem keeping up the pace for this endurance person, which was good because she was about to hit an olfactory brick wall.
How close is she to the clear?
She's almost here.
Okay, I think this is where
feels behind.
If she gets too discouraged because she can't find me, let me know and I'll come down the hill.
Before putting on my NASA suit for my quick escape, which meant at least from the perspective of her nose radar, I had effectively disappeared.
Wow, no hesitation. She went right through.
What? Really? Finka, you're killing me! I think my minutes are numbered. Ah! She is on her way up this hill. She's got about 15 minutes left. But if the chicken and cheese could just distract her enough, I may have a glimmer of hope here.
Pinky, come on. Which one?
That's the second bowl now.
I know, those are good.
Put a whole bunch of chicken and cheese.
Because we're gonna weigh up the bowls of the chicken and cheese.
Punching away.
Clock's ticking, Shay.
If I'd only quadrupled my chicken and cheese order, I might have stood a chance. But as it was, she immediately backtracked down the court and headed straight for me.
It's nerve-wracking.
But then, at what only could be described as an 11th hour salvation, the final 3 bands seemed to trip her up, and she second-guessed herself, heading back down the path.
It's interesting she came back down to it.
Okay, scratch that. Knowing there was time to spare, she apparently was just flexing on me, double-checking the bowls were in fact empty. So with a full belly and the proud gait of a winner, she led Shay around the bushes to my final hiding spot.
No! Bad girl! That is like indistinguishable from magic.
And as I sulked in my loss, with all of us overlooking the valley, I asked Shay why she's been volunteering around 20 hours a week for over 30 years working with search and rescue.
And hopefully bring a good conclusion to a stressful time.
And so for the hopes of many more future families to come, I suppose my loss really seems like the best possible.
The best mammal won through a formidable opponent.
In my ongoing quest to be the favorite uncle, I built a fire extinguisher-powered hovercraft. And then I challenged my nephews to make it across my human-sized glue trap. Now these are both part of Camp Crunch Lab, which is a virtual summer camp to help you fight both boredom and summer brain drain. But it's also an example of how juicy content is just automatically included when you have a Crunch Lab subscription. That means on top of just getting the boxes delivered right to your door every month, where we build a really fun toy together as I teach you all the mind-blowing physics of how they work, you also get exclusive access to stuff like behind-the-scenes content from my main channel videos. On top of that, Crunch Labs is a real place, so every month we randomly select one box to slip in a platinum ticket, and if it happens to be your box, then you're coming out right here to design with me and my team. So if you want to unlock the superpower of learning how to create and build whatever you can dream up, go to CrunchLabs.com or use the link in the video description to learn more. Thanks for watching. Yes, nailed it. This is the kind of thing you can learn to get to engineer your graduation cap with the ability to fly. I had the honor to MIT commence business, but here's the thing. I really don't like public speaking because I feel like it's more nervous than the average speaker. But since the main theme of my speech is about putting yourself out there to try new things in order to improve and eventually conquer them, consider my nervous stumbles just a meta object lesson. Without further ado, I give you me. grads, you are the first graduating class to have persevered through a global pandemic, just as this is the first commencement speech written entirely by ChatGPT. The tech is still very new, so if I make any grammatical errors or threaten to end all human life, that did not come from me. That's the robot. At this point, I should probably tell your parents who I am. I'm Mark Rover, a former Apple and NASA mechanical engineer who became a YouTuber. And yes, I know to some of you it sounds like I just said I quit the NBA to work at Foot Locker, or I traded a Picasso for an NFT of a stone monkey. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I sort of feel at home here because Buzz Aldrin went to MIT, and just like me, Buzz was a NASA engineer. Only Buzz studied physics and became one of the first humans to set foot on the moon, whereas I can't become the first human to sprinkle cord pirates with glitter and fart spray. It's on YouTube. Your kid will explode at dinner. But whether it's seeking climate justice for package thieves or building an obstacle course for squirrels in my backyard, I plan my monthly YouTube videos really far out in advance. In fact, I've already decided what my June 2053 video will be. It's going to be a collab with all of you. It's going to be a retrospective look at all the amazing things this MIT graduating class of 2023 has accomplished. In fact, this right now is the video itself. So if you've ever wanted to be in one of my videos, this is your chance. Now, will YouTube still be around in 30 years? Hopefully, unless Elon buys it. But here's the thing, the degree to which you positively impact the world is the degree to which you'll be featured in the video. So in order to increase your chances of making the cut, I want to give you 3 pieces of advice based off my life experience. The first bit of advice, to moisturize your commencement speech, is to embrace naive optimism. What do I mean by naive optimism? Actually, before I go any further, usually in my YouTube videos, when I get to like the juicy part, I'm not really used to this public speaking thing, so the music kicks in. So if you'll just give me a moment, and this button, trust me, this is going to be better for both of us. Here we go. Right here, let's see. There we go. All right, that's better. Okay, what do I mean by naive optimism? Naive optimism means it's easier to be optimistic about your future when you're sort of naive about what lies ahead, when you don't know what you don't know. As an example, think back on the first week at MIT, how naive you were about the number of all-nighters and cans of Red Bull that would be required to be where you are right now. In fact, you guys drank so much Red Bull, I'm surprised you're even sitting at all. If you truly understood what would be required, that discouragement might have prevented you from even starting. Sometimes it's an advantage not to do expert thoughts. There's no reputational risk, so it's easier to try new things and approach them from a fresh, first-person approach. Naive optimism can also help you face with a big life decision. When you feel like you want to know the results before you decide, but the true outcome is simply unknowable. Naive optimism means you have the irrational confidence of a child learning to walk or a mom learning to TikTok. And you pick what you think is the best path and just move forward, knowing there's more than one trail that leads to the top of the conclusion. It's okay if you don't know exactly what you want to be doing 20 years from now or what you want to have accomplished. And by the way, even if you do know, it doesn't matter because you're wrong. Anyone who tells you they knew they'd be where they're at 20 years ago is either lying or delusional or a time traveler or Pat Sajak. Life is like trying to cross a big flowing river with lots of rocks and boulders strewn about. If you want to cross the river, you have to start on the bank and look at the first several rocks in front of you. You can reach them with your toes or scan a few boulders out, but at some point you just gotta pick one and jump because the river is dynamic and always changing. If the first rock in this metaphor is a hobby, let curiosity and passion guide you every step. If the first rock represents a professional on this rock of giving the commencement speech at MIT. There's no way I could have predicted that path when I was exactly in your shoes 4 years ago. So cross your fingers one rock at a time, but do it with the nice optimism that it's all going to work out. Let that be your North Star. If you actually knew how far you can get, how long it takes to recover from this kind of injury, your knowledge might get in the way. So have faith in yourself. You're about to get good at it for MIT. So you obviously made some great decisions so far. Embrace your new experience and keep making the mistakes. Apologies to all the civil majors who are probably sitting there saying, if you want to pass a series so bad, why don't you just build a suspension bridge? Because it's my metaphor, alright? Back off. And now for some real talk. You're going to take that leap of faith, land on a rock, and only then realize it's not as stable as foot wheel had predicted, and you're going to fall into the river sometimes. Now brings to my second 3 pieces of advice to maximize your chance of positive impact to make the video cut, which is to frame your failures. You can tell the juicy part is the music's back. To illustrate what I mean by this, I asked 50,000 of my YouTube followers that subscribe to my channel to play a simple computer program with me. But what they didn't know is that I had served up 2 slightly different versions of the puzzle. In one, if you failed the puzzle, you didn't lose any of your starting 200 points, and you were prompted to try again. Whereas in the other, if you didn't succeed, you were also prompted to try again, but I said I was taking away 5 of those starting 200 points. That was the only difference. And even though they were of no value in the real world, no one will ever see these completely fake, meaningless internet points. Those who didn't lose those points attempted to solve the puzzle 2.5 times more and saw success 60% more of the time. And because 50,000 people took the test, those results are super statistically significant. Basically, those who didn't go and lose any negative life stuck with it for longer, saw more success, and learned more. And I think a great example of this in real life is video games. When Super Mario Bros. First came out, my friends and I became obsessed with making it to the castle and rescuing Princess Peach from the evil Bowser. We'd get to school and ask each other, dude, what level did you make it to? Did you have to win? We never asked each other for details on all the different ways we might have died, so we poured politics. When it comes to video games like this, no one ever picks up the controller for the first time, falls in the pit right away and thinks, I'm so ashamed. That was such a failure. I'm never doing this again. How am I going to break into the music and murder his brother? What really happens is they think, next time I'm going to come at it with a bit more speed. The focus of the session is about beating the game, not how dumb you might look if you might hit by a sliding glass. And as a direct result of that attitude, you'll ensure that not being focused on the failures, you got really great at learning a ton in a very short amount of time. In my personal and work life, I've dealt with my share of sliding glass shells. I still feel like every video we make keeps on. There's a moment where it seems everything that can go wrong has to. And those failures can be gutting, and they can sting really bad. But they sting like missing that one Super Mario Run right at the end of level 1. Right after that, really quickly it turns into, okay, what did we just learn from that? What should we try differently from next time? And this concept of life gamification is more than just have a positive attitude or never give up, because those imply you have to fight against your true desire to quit. And I feel like when you frame a challenge or learning process in this way, you actually want to do it. It feels natural to ignore the failure and try again. In the same way a toddler will want to keep trying to stand up, or in the same way you want to keep playing Super Mario Brothers, or in the same way half the people who attempted my coding puzzle had a desire to stick with it 2.5 times longer. The framing of the failures means that I wanted to keep trying and learning. And that's exactly why the most meaningful high fives at my adolescence were when I said, dude, I finally learned Bowser. Probably goes without saying, but girls didn't talk until I was much older. And in case you're like, yeah, but my real life would just be so much better if my top 5 challenges disappeared. Would it? I'd like to point out that if Super Mario Bros. Is just jumping over one pit, and then you rescue Princess Peach, no one would play. What is the risk and the reward? What is the challenge? There's no ultimate feeling of satisfaction. The degree you're getting today means so much to you precisely because of all the struggles and setbacks that you had to endure. So if you want to cross over in life, and final bit of advice is to foster your relationships. Nice. A sad truth about getting older is life gets busier and busier. It gets harder and harder to make really close friends like you did in school. And this isn't great because we evolved to be social, cooperative creatures, right? Like 50,000 years ago, issues were much harsher. So those who were more inclined to cooperate and intelligence were also much more likely to succeed and pass on those cooperation genes. So we've inherited these brains designed for social interaction. And we are hardwired to cooperate with other people. And look, I don't blame you if you want to cast aside advice from a guy who makes a living trying to outwit squirrels, but I wouldn't recommend doing that in 6 million years of evolutionary growth. Because in today's society, it's really convenient just to isolate yourself. You can attend the board meeting from your kitchen table, you can order food in the shower, you can bake on the toilet, you can even look through your partner without even your partner. It's easier to stay anonymous in our big cities versus the small tribes of our ancestors where everyone knew each other, which means we've got to actively work at fostering meaningful relationships. And because I know this can be harder for some more than others, here's a life hack I found that really helps. Confirmation bias is when your brain ignores evidence that doesn't support your beliefs, and it cherry picks the evidence that does. And generally, when people hear this term, they think it's a broken, unscientific way for our brains to approach the world. And this is true, but you can sort of judo flip it to your advantage. The trick is to positively apply confirmation bias to your relationships. If you assume good intentions on the part of your friends and family, you tell yourself that you're going to have them, your brain will naturally learn to find evidence to support them. It's just how our brains work. If you tell yourself that your fellow humans are doing really good, your brain will find examples of it everywhere, and that will reinforce your outlook. The opposite, unfortunately, is also true. Basically, whether you think the world and everyone in it is out to hurt you or help you, you're right. Studies have shown that the best predictor of divorce is if the couple assumes bad intentions in their partner's actions. If you marry Kanye. But if you get it in your head that your partner is selfish, inconsiderate, or willfully chooses to pick up the market, that creates a negative feedback loop of confirmation bias, seeking to find further evidence that your spouse is a jerk, even when you make efforts to mitigate. And this happens not just for spouses and for family, but even total strangers who might infuriate you. And look, I agree with you. They're wrong. But don't forget, as George Carlin pointed out, anyone who's driving slower than you is an idiot, and anyone driving faster than you is a maniac. Fostering a relationship filters out my list of 3 bits of advice because that may be where your impact is the greatest. Due to a challenging upbringing, my mom early graduated high school. She took being a mom and instilling values in children and communities. As such, she's the single biggest influence on my life by far. She passed away over a decade ago from ALS 6 months before I ever started teaching. But I love the idea that the ripples of her impact are still being felt as strongly as they ever have in the work that I'm trying to do. If anything I've said today has resonated with you, in my mind, it's a direct result of her commitment to this third piece of advice. So leverage confirmation bias to enhance your relationships as you cooperate to cross the river. Train your brain to assume good intentions and try to remember if someone cuts you off on the freeway, maybe they're not out to get you, maybe they're just not there. For piece of advice number 4, engage in occasional playful anarchy. But Mark, you told us you were only going to give us 3 pieces of advice. Boom! Here's a 4th, because why not? I'm playing music in a commencement speech because why not? It's not ending speech with pump up music, just of an intro to our upcoming collab 30 years from now, which means all that's left to do is your part to go out and change the world for the better.